Earnings, obviously, the big one coming up. We get the next reading on inflation coming up as well on Wednesday, which will be a big market-moving event. We are in a bit of a holding pattern, it would appear. Anyways, until then, the market is trying to bounce off of day lows, but still, as I said, in negative territory with now under a couple of hours to go. It has been a pretty choppy session, but we are seeing a little bit more green on this board than last time I showed it to you, coming in this corner down here from healthcare, from industrials, from energy and consumer stocks, all trying to get back into positive territory. However, none of which is enough to offset these negative moves up here. Twitter down 9%, Match down 5.5%, Dish down 5.5%. Here's all the travel names, cruise lines, hotels, casinos, all between 4 and 8% to the downside. Yeah, PayPal having an ugly day, more than 3% in negative territory, but a little more green popping up now in the tech sector, which is going to be important if we can get anywhere close to back in positive territory on the day. There we go. I can show you the board now. S&P down about 0.5%. It's the NASDAQ still leading 1.3. The Dow, yeah, exactly flat at this point. But ugly numbers top to bottom once again, including 5.5% for Bitcoin, Ethereum, 7% in negative territory as the slide continues here. For cryptocurrencies, hope your afternoon is going well. We'll kick things off, as we typically do, with a look at some of the opportunities that were available to you as trading opportunities this morning. If you joined us in the pre-market, we were talking about a whole wide range of things, including Twitter back to day lows, or trying to get back to day lows as we speak. Sean's going to lead the way here today with a look at one of his trades from this morning.
Thank you, Brendan. And actually, today's trade of the day is brought to you by Day Trade the World, the world's largest trading company. Get your capital and support today to open up your trading floor. And look, this was as of July the 8th. I tweeted this out right from CNBC. Pretty easy, man. CNBC, Elon Musk notifies Twitter, Nepa, he is terminating the deal. That's no more for all of our French friends out there. Elon Musk notifying it. So it ends, Twitter. So we already came in, thanks, let's close that. We already came in today thinking to ourselves, we wanted to be short. So we're gonna be one and done here on Twitter. It was pretty simple. What we wanted to do was get that early pre-market short, right? So here we go. Some of these highs right around $35. We were lucky enough to get filled right away off the open, right there at about $34.80, or what is that, $34.60, something like that. Close enough to $35. Actually, I think it is about $34.80 there on the downside. Then what started to happen was a complete move to the downside there on Twitter, all the way down. This is when Elon came out right here back in April. He started talking about Twitter at about $39, right? Right there. And it was like, I'm going to take these guys over. We want to correct it. We want to be the voice for the people. Twitter goes all the way back up to the upside, hangs around that 54.20 level, 1 or 2 days up there. Then all of a sudden starts questioning the fake bots, starts questioning some of the legitimacy of Twitter accounts, so on and so forth. And what winds up happening? Twitter kind of just back and forth. And then you're seeing the gap down here today based on that news story where it's no more Elon Musk's interest in Twitter. Now, this is going to go to the courts. They're lining it up. Apparently, there's that deal that he had to put in there. What is it, $1 billion to get out of it? We'll see if he winds up paying it. This one's going to go to court. But look at this. This is why we're short. All of these, like, with him not making the deal, is it really going to go back up to these levels? I don't think so. So we wait around for this 36, 37 level, which is where we get the short today, right in there, 35. And as you can see, it's starting to collapse down. Now, we only have one fill, so we don't have a huge amount of shares. But the important thing that I'm trying to explain is that we wanted the short. It was on our sticky note. It was the #1 name. We tweeted it out on Saturday, July 8th. So we knew that we wanted this play. As it comes in here, we still have a third on. So we take a third out right there almost instantly for like that 50 cents or $1. Then it comes back down and we get out at the pre-market levels at 34 for that $1. And now we're just watching it fall down. And as Brendan said, it sort of resisted that 33. But as I look here on the daily, like you got to go all the way back to back in here, March, April, May, March, when we had that 33 bottom, and then all of this started to explode. The interesting thing, Snapchat, like I'm trying to think to myself, yourself, what social media is similar to Twitter? And I think maybe just Snapchat. I mean, I'm sure there's a few other ones that are out there. Well, Snapchat at this time was $39. It's now $14. So where does this leave Twitter? If there's no buyers, there's no revenue, maybe there's no love for Twitter, and this continues to fall. So again, I really, really like this trade here today. It's one in, one out. It's brought to you by Day Trade the World. Check them out. Great trading company. Start your day off with support and capital from Day Trade the World, and it's your trade of the day.
It was the main story this morning when we all sat down, this Elon headline that came out, as Sean was saying there, over the weekend, discussing the fact that they haven't stepped up, or they haven't provided the information that they required, or he required, in order to complete this transaction. So he's done, but is he done? That's the next step forward here. As we were saying there, it will end up in a lawsuit, already has. That's the watch list, guys. Twitter was top of it. Today, when we came into the pre-market, I was just watching some of these casinos as well. We'll talk about the casinos coming up here, but trying to get back to day highs as we speak, as the market is trying to get back to day highs as well. 7.2% here for win, still to the downside. A little bit of volume coming in though. But let's continue the conversation here on this, because as I mentioned, it was the big story this morning was this Twitter deal and Elon falling apart, going their separate ways, or Elon at least thinks he's going to go his separate way. Twitter may have other ideas, guys. But the interesting part of this was how Tesla was benefiting initially in the pre-market, and then Tesla also follows suit with a huge flush once the market gets open and starts to trade.
Yeah, they pulled the rug on Tesla pretty quick there. And by pretty quick, I mean just at 9:30, you either were in it because the setup for whole shorting pops, that was what you were sitting in is what you got, more or less, unless you were taking breakdowns at the bottom through lows. So as far as I was concerned, I love the double top on Tesla, and that's usually a setup I like. It just fell off a rock, and I thought that there was going to be some kind of a press, at least toward that 765 high. Because maybe there's buying off the open if Elon's going to get out of this. That just didn't happen, and instead you were just completely rejecting the Friday's high almost right away. It was completely insane. We actually had a bounce off 700. We were a little busy with some. We were in our meeting when 700 happened on Tesla, so that's kind of a bit of a miss at 701. I did try it at 735. That was that breakout price we liked from Friday. Unfortunately, that was didn't last. Quick little in and out there, just trying to catch any kind of a bounce off a significant level. Now it's just 700 left for Tesla. Long term, this is going to drag out. So I think, especially when it comes to Twitter, maybe a little bit when it comes to Tesla as well, but this is not going anywhere in the short term. It's not easy to get out of a deal because you sign a deal. It's you have essentially a contract. When you sign that tender offer. So this is going to be a protracted legal battle, obviously, and there's lots of ways it could play out. We talked about this morning when it comes to Twitter, whether it's going to be a reduced price, get out of it, pay the breakup fee, or somehow 54.20, which I think that's the least likely outcome, but there's people that get paid a bunch of money to figure out real probabilities for that. The way I see it, the market has made it pretty clear there hasn't been a bounce in Twitter. It's just only selling today. So I kind of feel like the trend could set us down to that $30 level. When we were talking about this a few weeks ago, or maybe a few months ago, I guess it was, we kind of thought it may be worth less than $30. So I'm not sure the downside is completed, but there's still headline risk, and there's a lot of time to go for Twitter.
You're out of Twitter. I was going to say both Neil.
I got an ugly trail out.
You got a trail out.
I hate trailing stops. I should go over this because I have this conversation every time I get trailed out of a stock that I don't like.
That happens to me all the time. That little wick.
Yeah, it's there was one little volume spike back up here to 33.75, and I added to my position on the short when it broke down here at that price, and then I end up when it ends up being support or resistance here again at about 33.70, I see that and say, okay, well, I'll just throw a trail in there. And I do that when it's at the low. So it's it's going to break the low and go to 33, or I'll put my trail back at my last entry point. You get one wick up where I got my last entry, and the next thing you know, I'm out. I sit back down. I'm like, oh, that's right. That's great. I'm out of my position altogether. I guess I could have taken out half. I didn't have to get it all out. But either way, Twitter has not broken trend at any point here. And I think this is one of those things we're going to come in every day sort of looking for short opportunities until either something new happens or $30 happens. We'll see what happens. We'll see for the rest of the day. Maybe it's a bit done. I don't want to be shorting the low on Twitter, not at this point.
So I did, yeah. Look, I mean, that's why I'm holding on to Twitter, right? I mean, we think that there's going to be some more downside there on Twitter. Which camera are we at? We're at this camera. Yeah, what's up? What's up, camera? But I did want to give an opportunity here. I know my mother's watching, and tomorrow's her birthday.
Oh my goodness. Hi, Debs.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Deb.
So happy birthday, and she's going to be watching hopefully tomorrow as well. And the important thing about all this that I wanted to talk about quickly is because Neil and I have been friends for probably 25 years.
75 years.
I know we only look like, 35 years?
I'm 25. So
Right, I was going to say, I know like, you would say like,
From birth.
how have Neil and Sean been friends for like 25, 30 years when we look like 35 years old? Maybe younger we look. But
Thank you.
my mother watching the show with one of her friends and she's going to tell me because she's going to message me here, but I think it's more than 40 years because they were friends on the street that I grew up on.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so more to come on that. So hey to Gwen from Philadelphia. So watching up here in Ontario.
Philly.
Yeah, I just have a problem with
Philly.
Philadelphia because honestly, the 76ers beat the Raptors.
Great
And, so right now, but I've never actually been to Philadelphia.
You got to run the steps. So like everybody
I'm
does.
going to go up there like Rocky.
Everybody does, man. So you gotta wait in line to get a picture by the statue, and then everybody's running the steps. You go there, and all you see is like cameras and people running the steps.
Yeah.
And it's like the most tourist thing ever. And then you go and you do it yourself anyway. So great city. I love that.
Yeah, and I'll never forget. I mean, and passionate sports fans. I mean, you don't want to go there and be on the other side of that team. So yeah, what's up to Gwen? What's up to my mom as well? Hopefully you guys are enjoying Trader TV Live.
Yes, sir.
And not trading too many of these stocks because it is downside right here today, Brendan, as the market's down 1.63%. And as I was doing that trade of the day, I just wanted to quickly mention here, that's Snapchat like I was talking about. Remember I said $39? This is right when the announcement was made for Twitter and Elon Musk, and that was $39. Now you're seeing Snapchat all the way down here to 14. So when I do look at my Twitter trade now at $1.70 in the money, so we'll go bang for that trade as that continues to make a move to the downside. So again, here's Twitter at $39 when Elon Musk talked about it. So like, where do we go from here? Like, I think we break 30, and this story is not even close to being done. We'll see if he's forced to buy it at 50. I don't know how you could force somebody to do that. There is that breakup fee that he has. So for me, Brendan, I think Twitter, and I know we're going to talk about the chips after this, but I would much rather have my money in pretty much any other tech name right now other than Twitter.
100%. I mean, we were saying it right from the beginning, guys. Way too headline driven, way too much headline risk in that deal entirely, and we're nowhere near the end of these headlines either. Let's go on to the chips because they were a little relatively weak in the pre-market. Not the case now. They have kind of rallied back to life, helping the overall NASDAQ. Here's two of the headlines we were talking about in the pre-market. One on Qualcomm, the other one on NVIDIA. Cowen cutting the price target on Qualcomm. Piper Sandler to the downside on NVIDIA. So initial weakness, yes, but it has been some of these chip names that have shown some relative strength here this afternoon.
Okay, about that relative strength, like I mean, it's NVIDIA bounced off 150.
Yeah.
Right. So like it was in the midst of a $5-6 drop there off of the open, where it found that 150 support again. So that was a level that was only okay. It wasn't really that good. The last couple times we traded off of it. Now I know we ran away from that price, but the one day we went back and forth, and I think it was. Yeah, well, I guess it was last week, but it just went back and forth off 150 4 or 5 times before settling higher. Now it's mostly the most obvious level you're going to find out there. If we get down to that price this afternoon, I guess fair enough. It's worth a bit of a buy. It is retesting right now. It's 50 period, and VWAP is going to come in play. I tried the long in NVIDIA off of this support right at 153. So that turns out that it's now resistance at 153. That's the only reason I'm not looking for longs until we get at least down into VWAP, and then that 50 period sits at about 152.50. So we're actually right here right now at the 50 period. On a 3-minute chart there. So I think there is some strength in this name, but if we don't bounce from here in this 50-cent range, then you're looking all the way back down to 150 even. And like I said, that previous support that I wanted to play off of, that's now your afternoon resistance. I think the chips are still under some pressure. obviously, because every single time people are worried about the economy, that weighs down on chips. And they're just so demand driven. We get a slowdown, or we guess we're in a slowdown, we get a further slowdown, and that's going to weigh on all of these. The crypto concerns also probably weigh on NVIDIA in particular, in top of that downgrade. But for now, it's a reversal of a trend that we've seen. The market just rejected 12,000 on the NASDAQ, but the trend, the afternoon trend or the midday trend, whatever you want to call it, that's unbroken for now until the upside on NVIDIA. It has to break below this 152 for me to get away from that notion. I think there's other things to short. I'm short Amazon. I'm still short Affirm from earlier today. I don't know that I love the short on the chips right here.
No, so for me, we talked about it earlier with AMD. I mean, until it gets above $80 here, and I wasn't here on Thursday, Friday of last week, of course, but that kind of a shorting opportunity here. We touched 80 and bounced, touched 80 again there and bounced, and then right into here we were bouncing off $80 again. So, we'll have to wait to see where it goes, but I like AMD short into this area, which is why today, when you're going to look over here again at my trades, we did start with the shorts. We started shorting this thing real early, but then we got out of the way. So we're actually down on it because we started a little bit too early down here at 76 and had to average it in before getting it all out right there. And then another quick short back out, and now we're out of the way. But I agree with Neil. I think there's better names to short, but at the same time, there's nothing wrong with going short any of these names right here. I mean, AMD against this 78.20 level, I mean, it's right there right now. The good thing was, and do we have Microsoft's coming up soon? No, we don't have any of those. China, and then, casinos, man. That was a good trade for us on Win. We will talk about that. But I switched up into the long in Microsoft right here, and we've just been taking dollars long, long, long. So when I switched over to the long on Microsoft, I sort of forgot about the shorting in the chips. Not forgot, like actually forgot, but was like, forget about it. You know what I mean? So that's what we were doing, like, forget about it. We don't want to go short on AMD if we're long on Microsoft, So that's what we were trying to do right there. But now I'm thinking about switching up the game. As you see right now, the the NASDAQ is below the 50 period, looking to make new lows. And again, guys, remember in the morning, let's just go awesome, right? And then we'll also do this too, where we were saying, flush down the toilet. There we go. I like that gray shirt. I got to wear that a little bit more. But look with the NASDAQ. I said we're probably going to test 12,000 again. And we actually tested 12,000 right on the knot there, like right at 12,000. We bounced all the way back and now came back in. So, I am thinking a little weaker here on the market, but as you can see, the NASDAQ 163, Brendan, AMD still down 2%. So there is relative weakness in the chip space. I think Neil might be right, man. Maybe NVIDIA on negative notes might be the better name to short. But for me, I'm going to go short here on AMD. Let's just double check a few things here on a few bigger charts. 3 minutes, so we're still above. It's got to get back up here, man. So maybe if we approach 78, I'd be debating a short here for AMD. Not now. I just want to see this market in the next 10 or 20 minutes.
Just saw a note on Rivian, guys. A bit of a volume spike coming in there on Rivian. Apparently, they're going to cut 5% of their workforce. So Bloomberg reporting that right now. 5% workforce cut for Rivian. Let's talk Chinese stocks, including some of the EV makers were pretty weak today as well. NIO comes out with another response to the short report that came out at the end of June on them from the bear cave, I believe it was, on NIO. So seemingly positive, but it was very, very active in the pre-market as well. There was this note, also more regulator concerns regarding the lack of progress, I guess is the best way to put it, in negotiations between US regulators and Chinese regulators on accounting issues for all of these names. So some of the tech-related Chinese stocks were worse off in the pre-market.
Oh man, were they ever worse off? So this is one of those, and we talked about this. You had to be in the short to really get it. And the one I liked the most was Pinduoduo. And I thought the bear cave was. I thought they put the report out in TD, but maybe they were both of those. I could be getting those mixed up. But Neo as well. I liked Pinduoduo, and it didn't matter what you liked. They were all pretty good shorts. It was just more about the fact that this was rejecting the 200 period moving average here. I'll try to zoom in a little bit. It had just recently broken above and tried to hold above that price, and then you get a gap down below $60 and that 200 period. To me, that was it's screaming that you wanted to be in that short when you're making that kind of a gap fill. I was just looking to short the pop at the open. I don't know I should have just sat in this one. Eventually, it did settle down at 50, below 56, and that was the trade we had. I thought we'd be holding that one to 52. I got trailed out of that as well. Although this time, the trailer actually ended up being good, not because of this wick all the way to 60, but this is, I got trailed out here at 54.20. I'd get back into this if we were close to 56, but for now, it looks like the trend is reversed. I chuckle because it's down 10%, but it has caught a bid back above VWAP. This is the one we eventually got into. Sometimes you just have to accept that you missed the trade that you wanted and move on to the next, and it gave you a consolidation, albeit $2.50 later, but there was still a win to be had on Pinduo Duo. If you're looking for some strength in the space, I mean, BABA had a pretty solid bid there, pretty much all through lunchtime. I don't know if it's still, it's still doing this barcode Alibaba, by the way. It's just, you've got this 111.25. I know Ian was talking about this pretty heavily. So about $1 and change range on Alibaba. Interesting if it were to break out from here, but other than that, I guess you could scalp the short at 111 down into the 110 range with a 111 quarter stop. That's a heck of a lot of barcoding for Alibaba. I'd be surprised if it stayed inside of the range the entire afternoon.
Okay, so Alibaba was one of these. Okay, money. And I got to give a big shout out here to our friend John Stevens, who we see in the chat sometimes here, and he messaged me as well, and I actually just retweeted it. Thanks for the level. Such a good feeling to start the week on a big green trade. So the level that he's talking about right here is Alibaba, when during the show I talked about you got to look below this 115. This is the break. I really like the short, and shout out to you, Mr. Stevens, because you have it and your boy doesn't. So there it is right there. A big shout out. I wanted to show it to you on the show. Thank you for tagging me in that as well. But there's the 115 break on Alibaba, and there it is right there, 115. Like Neil said, unless you were really looking at it, which I was. I mean, I was all over it in the pre-market. Didn't have the order out as we continue to catch falling knives on other names. We'll talk about AMC and whatnot after this. But there's the 115 break, and then ever since then, it actually bounced around a bit there, and then it just see you later, man. We like to call that Tank City, all the way down to 110 again. And then as you blow this out to the minute range, I just want to identify this 110 as a bottom coming through right now. So, I feel like I want to go long, and I just re-upped my trade in Microsoft, but this isn't not a horrible spot here for Alibaba coming back into 110. You've seen here's 110 back here. It goes all the way back to April. This is a daily chart. So I feel like you can still get some upside moves here. I don't know if it's going to be today, but 110 looks pretty juicy. Like, I'd rather start the day at 105 and then get some great news and break back through the upside. So for today, the market's still below VWAP. I can't say that I love Alibaba here, but it's not the end of the world. And there it is on a 20-minute. You can see a big move down. There's 115 again, crack to the downside, and now you're kind of barcoding. Maybe it's a long if we break above this 111, give it to 112, that bottom there back on the 30th. So lots of interesting names to go through. I'm in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions right now, most of them from the morning. Yeah, Alibaba, a new one that we could possibly get into here, and we'll talk about the casinos right now, Brendan.
Take it back to these Chinese headlines, and we'll touch on why some of these casinos were down in the pre-market here. It was all about COVID once again. Can't believe we're still talking about COVID, but apparently we are, because Macau over the weekend shuts down the entire casino industry, which is obviously not good for LVS, for Wynn, for this Melco Resorts, one we don't really talk about a lot, MGM, and there's also Billy on here with exposure to this sector as well. So yes, they were down in the pre-market, but decent bounce for the major ones anyways, guys, throughout the day.
So, yeah, I mean, I'll take this to start with, because you didn't have a casino, did you? No, you're looking at LVS. Yeah. So I was just because I've been looking at Wynn and I'm a shareholder in Wynn, I saw that note, and even on the way in, I remember turning to my kid, I was like, uh-oh, they just said that there was headlines in Macau, and I was like, this is not going to be good. And the very next thing out of the broadcaster's mouth was, yeah, they're shut down Macau now, and I was like, oh, that's great for Wynn. So instantly, I knew I wanted the short again. We took this one pretty early at 9 o'clock, so again, not a huge position, but it does come down, so we take it at 53.50. Our first out's 53, and our next out we got out right here on the dip down to 51.85, and we didn't even let it go to 51, but that's been a pretty decent bottom. Look at Wynn here, man. I mean, it's been pretty bad on the daily chart. The thing about it is Vegas is still working really hard. Like, everything I'm reading out of Vegas, and I mean, those of you that are maybe in the state of Nevada or are traveling, I think that you'll probably understand what I'm saying, and that is that apparently the hotels are like you can't get reservations, airplanes. Now I know travel's been a little bit hard, obviously with some of the delays going through, especially here. Whoops, in Canada. Hey Rob, I thought Roger shook the back of my chair, and I thought like I lost the back of my chair. I was like, I'm going down for sure.
I even felt that.
Oh, you felt that one too. Maybe you as well. But anyways, okay. There's Rob. Now Rob's hardly working, but he's actually hard at work right now, setting everything up because when Arun fills in for us, sometimes he's at this computer, sometimes he's at that computer. So Rob is one of our network specialists, IT specialists. What do you want to be called? Okay, cannot repeat that word. But anyways, definitely helping us out if we have any technical issues. So setting that all up, and we want to give a big thanks to Rob for that one as well. But okay, we'll move on that. What I was getting on win here was just quickly, I like this $70 level, $80 level, right? This is when I read a report that they were valued at over $8 billion was their market cap. And at the time at $75, Win's actual market cap was $8 billion and their properties were valued at $8 billion. So to me, they were discounting all future revenues coming in from said casino, right? So casino, is there a better business in the world? I don't know. Well, there are a few, maybe drug dealing, things like that. But these guys win. Hopefully won't get arrested for anything like that. So we're going to wait to see. First one's free. You're going to wait to see here, though. A nice move to the downside. I thought they were out of the way on COVID. You get a bump back up here to the 50 period. But look at this 50 period moving average. It got hit there, back here, got hit again. And now you're way off of it one more time. So I feel like you can't buy this thing until we clear this 50 period moving average. It sucks because I've been recommending this name. I understand that, and it really does suck to be a Win shareholder. But that's the problem when you deal with different countries that have different policies, and that's why I talked about Vegas booming, and then yet again, here in Macau, you get a little bit of an outbreak there in China, and they shut the whole damn city down. So right now, Macau, Win, LVS, Neil, those names aren't going to work.
And if you're in them, like we always talk about your time frame. And your time horizon, I think you need a longer one there for all of these. There's a value, obviously, but it's just you're going to deal with some pain. And I think that's true for a lot of stocks, but especially though. Quickly on LVS, a very similar breakdown. The only difference between LVS and Win was, Win never got above that 50 period, where LVS had, which made me like it a little bit tighter to that level, and tighter to that 33 area, which again, it was just off the open. It was really difficult to be able to get that trade. What you do have this afternoon, at least, is last week's or the last couple of weeks, the low at 32 and change can possibly turn into resistance here. So we're at that 32 right now. I'm thinking maybe 32 to 32 and a quarter or so. This is a bit of a pocket for LVS where we could be shorting this pop. It's down 7%, but it is also up $1.20 or so from these bottoms. So this is a significant bounce it's had almost halfway back. I think the fade can be in play, but I want to see it make a top here at 32.20 before I get in. It still looks like it's trying to head to that upside.
Guys, why don't we add one more? I just saw this one just pop up again. AMC back to the downside here. I guess we broke that last little pivot there, 1475. Still 0.5%. In positive territory, but kind of grinding back lower. This was the headline this morning in the pre-market. Yeah, best weekend of 2022 so far for AMC, guys. So nicely positive on the day. I mean, the market's still negative, so you got to give it that, but trying to make it 3 days in a row here for AMC.
AMC last week was...
Where's the apes? Where's the apes?
Pretty much every single... Well, I guess I wasn't here on Tuesday.
There's the apes.
I wasn't here on Tuesday and Wednesday.
I think it really got taken off when you were here. I don't remember trading it too much.
Okay, well, it was downside, but there was you could short it. But then the second I came back, it was all I remember was the great breakout on Thursday, and then Friday was another great long opportunity. So we just sort of said we were going to extend those trades into today, looking at some of the key levels, 1450, 1420. I never got this 1420, so that kind of stinks. I was waiting back tighter to that 1380 level, wanting 14s in front of that 1380. However, I did say in the morning, if we get above VWAP, I'm going to look to play a consolidation long. What I should have done is just play the breakout from the original long at 1460. That worked to 15. If I'd played the break, well, I'd already have taken some profit at 15. Instead, I'm sort of sitting in the middle with this average. If it gets below that 50 level, I'm out of this thing. I'm trying to play it through 15 into those highs. It's just been relatively strong since last Thursday. You throw in the decent catalyst here, and I don't think... look, it is a bit of a downward trend. Like, I'm not going to pretend that you haven't made the top from Friday and then you have some lower highs. You got another lower high here. I just think it's holding up reasonably well compared to the rest of the market. Once we pop up above VWAP, I wanted to be in the long side of the trade. GameStop probably made a more impressive move off the lows, actually, or maybe as impressive a move off the lows, and then broke out from 130 during that midday show. And I think I popped it in the chat, and Ian and or maybe it was Luca, one of the two of them was mentioning it there. And you had this nice break at 130. Now it's also trying to hold up at VWAP. Not nearly as strong as AMC was last week. AMC was still testing highs on Friday, whereas you're still trying to get through that lower high in GameStop. That's why I favor AMC longs a little bit here. Even though GameStop is making some power moves, sometimes they'll follow each other. That's why I'm bringing them up. I understand that GameStop has nothing to do with the strong weekend box office in AMC. However, they tend to move rather similarly, so I'm always monitoring one or the other. What will happen is, let's say you reclaim this 130 and we press toward those highs. Well, I would at least expect AMC to get dragged up a little bit there, as they do tend to move together. And if we get a harsh rejection at that high, then maybe I want to take some shares off of the AMC long, given that you see that rejection. The last thing we'll go to, because I don't think we talked about big tech in our little recap there, so I will go over Amazon here just very quickly. I am in that position in Amazon. If you'll see there, that 115.50 to 116 short that we liked last week, which was so good for, well, I guess the 2 days I was here, Thursday and Friday, that was really out of the pocket. I would have had to short this below 115, whereas I liked it a little bit higher. But once we broke that support from those 2 days, that became the short area, which is at 113.5. So I'm essentially short in front of Thursday and Friday's support levels. It just comes down to, if you have good levels that you like from the previous week, just go right back over toward them. That's where I got this short from in Amazon. Now I'm holding to see if it cracks VWAP. And if this market decides to sell off for the rest of the day, well, we'd have the morning high, like 10:30, this was your top, and essentially it would be a lower high double top. And if we break VWAP, we can expect to maybe retest some of those lows on Amazon. And then the other one I have is Affirm. Ooh. I just sort of said every single time there's a weekday, I want to make sure I find my way into Affirm. Well, I did miss the first $1.20, but that's short off of 22 when it failed. It's still toward those lows. Market selling off again.
All right, because we are talking about big cap tech here, we are ringing the Reggie one more time here. As you can see, we just went long on Microsoft 265.15. Hello, tongue twister there, right there on Microsoft. So nice little take to the upside now as we start to go long off of that 265 level that we talked about earlier. So we'll see if it breaks 265. We are now out. We are also noticing here that Meta is on its way down as well. And these are just against these levels. We've already run these levels once. So again, against this one, I just got to make sure I have the stop orders out. Do I have it out for Microsoft? I don't have it for Meta. So if we break here, this is Meta that we're looking at right now. If we break that back down below this 163, I don't even want, I'm out, like ASAP, stat here. So ASAP Rocky right here. One more play to the downside. We'll average in one more time out at 163 break. We're gone. So that's just want to bring that in. We're going to try the longs one more time here. We are long Microsoft in the money, the same thing, but we're going to give it to this 65 marker. And look, you can see here, there, it's hard when I zoom in, but this is 65, this top. So it's been respected every time. If it breaks lower, normally, I mean, so far so good. We got a nice little wick buy there for sure. But as this market drifts like this, it just becomes more dangerous. So I just, and this is what I mean by drift. Look at this market just drifting down. It's pulling negatively here, right? So you're starting to not be able to take out the highs. You're starting to make lower highs as we come in, boom, boom, there all the way to the downside. So just be very, very careful with this 12,000 marker right there on the NASDAQ. This is just one of those plays where, hey, if we get a late session bump, I know I want to be long Microsoft and I know I want to be long Meta, but it looks like Meta's going to get cracked out very, very soon here, taking down this 163. We'll probably get wicked out here. There it is. So now we're out. Let's just see what happens. I'm going to wait to see if the NASDAQ does bump back up to the north side. So, of course, we get out. We didn't pay any spread there. We got out at 98. So all good on that one. But as you can see, it is dancing around here. So one last try there on Meta. We're gone. Meta's my number one stock today, as you guys probably know from the morning, we had that monster 168 short. I mean, this was huge. This actually came just before the market opened, so it was a good amount of shares, came right back in. We were able to get it, and then we just hit some longs. Long at 163, long at 163. Look at our best out, 164.50, right? So we got taken out there, which really sucked, but got back in again. So Meta, hopefully it can hold out here, but we're flat and looking to get longer, especially if we can retake this like 163.30 level. Maybe we'll get back into Meta, but for now, as long as we are below this 50 period here, then we're gonna be looking for some shorts, including, Neil, it looks like, oh yeah, you're out of Twitter, but Twitter right now looks like it's making new lows. So although the market's puking, but not hard, it does look like Twitter. I mean, I don't see any way that Twitter doesn't see a 30 mark at some point.
Well,
so
also remember this too, like the weaker the market gets, like as the lawyers got total control of this right now. So the weaker the market is, the stronger the case, or the more leverage, I suppose, that Elon's side has, right? So you got to keep that in mind. Like when the market's weak, Twitter is arguably worse in a lot of ways there. It turns like Veru is super strong. If you're looking for stocks that are up right now, Veru making power moves all day long. Apparently, and like I'm not sure what the news is, although Fahad seems to say it's because he, as the CEO, Fahad's not really the CEO of Veru. He just likes to call himself the CEO of Veru.
He's not?
I know.
Oh, okay. I thought that's why I didn't want to show his face, because you didn't want everyone to know that the CEO of Veru is switching for us. People might sell their shares.
Apparently, it's like the strongest stock in the market today, up 15%.
According to the CEO.
According to the CEO. According to the CEO Fahad. Just try to remember. Look, this stock has been super strong, and every single dip has given you an opportunity for like a 15 to 20% move at some point. I'm not saying it's easy to have caught all these. The last one actually broke through support before breaking back out. But if you do note, like you've got this 17.5 high, then 17, and then about 16.5, and now 16. So about like every 50 cents down from these highs has been some resistance. However, at some point you form a wedge and maybe break that top. So 16 looks like a good shortable level here, depending on how expensive it is. Less than 1 cent a share. So sign me up. I'm not a Rune. I'll pay 0.8 cents a share on a stock that's done 11 million in volume. It looks like it's going to be a mover. But 16 bucks, definitely the level here on Veru where I would attempt to go short in front of it. Outside of that, not a heck of a lot there. And there's no specific, all jokes aside, there is no specific news on Veru, just getting a strong bounce. It's done this before. We've definitely seen it do this before. This time bouncing off the 50-period moving average. You can't say that about a lot of stocks.
No, you cannot. All right, so I'm going to, and again, just because I feel like I'm going to try to get back into Facebook. So Facebook Meta. So wait out for that. Just a little talk here about Rivian, because this is a name that I really thought was going to get going. And then they came out and announced that they were dropping some jobs. 5% of the workforce or 5,000? I think it was 5%. 5% of workforce. I see the note right now. So yeah, and it's right back to day's low. This is a name that we really thought, this is the only loser that we have on board here today of any significance is Rivian. We did go long at the open, not very many shares. Again, anytime you're seeing me in, especially before like 9:20, probably not very serious, but it doesn't matter. We still lost. That's a 32.50. Then we averaged it in right there, and it's a good thing that we were able to get out right there when it broke back down. Then we averaged in again and got out on a 31 break, and then we went long again, and these longs were working because, again, we gave it down to 30 before we put on some shares. But now you're back into 30 here. So this is just one of those names where if you look back, I want to give this, and I'm going to take more shares now. I'm giving it to this bottom here from the 6th, 7th. Look how strong Rivian was. I think that like job cuts and cutting back the workforce for a company that's making no money is actually a positive thing. So I don't think this should be going to the downside. Obviously, as the market comes in here, you are going to see Rivian come back in. But look what's happening over here. You have oil, and we're going to talk to Frank. Not sure what exact topics he's going to talk about, but oil's been dancing around a little bit as well. And you would think, like, oil's been disconnected from EV. Like, it's not, most of these names are at 52-week or close enough to all-time lows. Meanwhile, oil, and this is when oil was at 120, 130, testing some of those highs. So I don't think there's really a connection anymore between the two. Oil's just going to do what it's going to do. But I just want to see Rivian down here at this 29.50. And then really, if you really believed in Rivian, you could give it all the way to 29. you know, the last 1, 2, 3, 4 days, I just can't believe it's getting wiped out in one day. Not that that's, I can't believe that. I mean, I've been here 21 years. I can believe that easily. It's just a matter of, it really? Like, I don't see they hit their production goals. They were talking about them. So needless to say, I like Rivian. And I'm actually sitting here at $29.85 waiting to get some more shares long. So I'll probably just punch the bid or punch the ask now, get a few more shares long, but I'm probably going to get 85 and then just give it down to this 29 mark and average in a little more serious at 29.50. But let me give Rivian one more shot here. There it is. So now we're into it as it just smokes me right through it. Average price now, Rivian, $30.06. So not too far away. It looks real bad on the minute chart, but we're right back to some of these levels again. If the market rallies, I think Rivian could go with it, but we're not dying on this sword. That's for sure. We're going to see if Rivian can go.
I'm surprised you didn't drop the. You said Rivian one more chance. I'm like, Rivi, give me one more chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't drop it.
I
I saw you had the big pun bars there on Friday. What was up with that? You've got Tupac, you got some big pun in there.
Well, see, I kind of want every single time this
But
does
I thought
happen.
Prad was doing something.
Well, I think Prad should do it next and drop in a few bars because he said he was practicing. But from now on, I want to do things like you might not have heard. And so Pac, I didn't want to pick like a really popular song, and that was one of my favorite little like big pun verses. I got one that I'm thinking about from Rakim, but that's a Friday thing. We're not going to drop any bars here today. Or are we? But every time
Yeah,
we
we got to
drop
put up the auto tunes.
it was regulators this morning. That was
Yes, but we didn't. I mean, that was just throwing out the regulator. Like we didn't actually, drop
to
any
which
bars.
out of the two of we got Fahad and Lucas on the ones and twos. Fahad just gave no reaction to regulators whatsoever.
Oh, no, because
Lucas was like, okay, good track.
He's like, all right,
which-
I'm feeling that one.
Really?
At least.
Nate Dogg Warren G does nothing for you. I get it.
No, he's more of a little Bow Wow guy. We talked about this already. I don't even know what song. Remember when he said that one of the best movies ever
Fahad.
created was
It was Like Mike.
Like Mike, and then he was so happy that they
Fahad
made
is the only person
Like Mike
that
too?
that I actually know personally who enjoyed Like Mike and thinks that was good. So
He is
look,
loving Like
there
Mike.
is something for everybody in this world, and it's a good thing to see. Like I happen to think that. Look, I saw the trailer and I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of.
Of what, Like Mike?
Like Mike. And I never watched it. But hey,
Oh,
if
you
like-
watched it. Come on. I mean, Little Bow Wow now I think is 50 years old. I mean, that was like 30 years ago.
I can
I'm
respect
serious.
the talent. And
When
go
was Like
do your
Mike?
hustle, man. But look, the movie's just—it's not my cup of tea. Let's just say. Veru, by the way, as we're saying this,
2002.
it's that old.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Damn, I wasn't even trading in 2002.
Oh, Like Mike too. You know what it's called? Street ball. Watch out now.
Fahad right now, he's got like the Jordan shorts on. Like he's a basketball guy for sure.
Yeah.
What was I talking about?
Fahad was 6, I just heard, when that came out. So that's why he was really loving. Maybe Fahad's starting Little Bow Wow. I'm going to find out about Like Mike more.
Was he alive?
Let's go back. He was alive, barely, apparently.
I guess he was.
But anyways, shout out to everybody out there trading today as we continue to make this. Oh,
yeah, that's right.
Oh, good. Yeah, we just heard it in our ear now. Back onto something more serious level right
There's
now.
no way Frank likes Little Bow Wow.
Frank, I want to know if Frank knows. Frank looks a little younger than us, I would say.
Yeah, he still won't like Bow Wow.
But I'm not even sure he knows who Lil Bow Wow is. Did Lil Bow Wow start with the LILs? Like now you have Lil Baby.
No, Lil Kim was way before.
Oh, Lil Kim. Yeah. Oh,
was way
yeah. Queen Bee right there. But let's go over, Brendan, and please do me a favor and ask Frank if he's ever heard of Lil Bow Wow, let alone seen Like Mike. Over to Brendan.
I'm going to say no right away. Frank, tell them, please.
I know Bow Wow just from Like Mike from the movie, but I do, in fact,
All
I
right,
listen
all right.
to more frequently. I got the little pun, or not the little pun, big pun
Big pun.
reference. I gave you fair warning. Beware, beware. Oh my gosh, that first track from that album. Holy smokes.
Frank is in the building.
There it is.
Don't
Yeah.
mess around. Don't mess around with. Frank Caberna is here as I try and collect things. Hi, Frank. Hope you had a nice weekend. It's a crazy day. It's going to be a crazy week. Let's talk a little bit about the U.S. dollar to kick things off because Wow, again today. I mean, I kind of feel like a broken record here. Maybe we both kind of feel like a broken record here because every time we mention the US dollar, it's at a new high again, which means everything else is at 20-year lows. It seems like just continuation here. Give us your take. What do you think USD-wise today?
Yeah, I wanted to focus on US dollars because they are making new highs once again since 2002. We're going to start getting into that mode of new highs since 1998 or whatever the high is before 2002. But a lot of people quoting this new highs for the last 20 years in US dollars. Sounds like a broken record because we've been talking about it. But this is an especially crazy move here to start the week, because not only are we making new highs, Brennan, but we're making them in a pretty violent fashion. Looking at the projections for US dollar futures for this week, keep in mind it's Monday afternoon, and they're right now dancing around the highs for the entire week. What we do is we take realized volatility, and this market has a high realized volatility. So even at some pretty wide projections here, Brendan, given the high vol, market already beating the whole week's upside of projections. So an outlier day for the last 2 decades, an outlier day for this week already, and close to a 3 standard deviation day, less than 1% of the time we see just a daily move like this. So across the board, huge outliers in US dollar. If you're not already in this market or haven't already been looking, this is the story of the year from where I sit. And we can get to how it's pushing around everything else. I think especially today is emblematic of how US dollar affects not only Forex markets, we'll get to Euro here in a second, but also commodities and stocks and even interest rates starting to move inversely from this big move higher in US dollar. And you can see, the first tier, Brennan, you know this all too well, is obviously this US dollar is going to push around the crosses, and Euro making new lows since 2002. Their yen actually at new lows since the 90s. Chances of parity by the end of the year up to 37% in the euro. And it seems like at this point, at $1 and a penny, Brendan, we're bound to at least touch it. I would, if anything, I think that chances are higher that we break parity in the next couple of weeks, but we conclude the year above that $1 level. What say you on this euro dollar cross? It seems like the most interesting cross for me right now, unless you want to throw anything like the yen or Canadian dollar. Where are you looking specifically with this US dollar?
It's amazing. I mean, we showed the chart a little bit earlier on. I think it was 175, like 100.75 at one point during the midday today, the DXY versus the euro. So not far off at this point. 98, it was June of 98 for the yen, you mentioned there as well, the last time it was trading at these levels. So let's put it this way. Let's maybe take the approach of coming up on Wednesday. Okay, we get CPI. Coming up later in the week, we get a little bit of a look at earnings since, the first time since the beginning of the year when things were a lot, allegedly anyways, worse off. What could happen here going forward as far as the dollar is concerned?
At this point, anything is possible for this dollar. That being said, I love volatile markets. They present some of the greatest inefficiencies out there, some of the greatest potential edges. And when markets get volatile and stuff starts to freak out, like you say, that euro getting within a penny of parity this morning with the US dollar, I have to stick to the statistics. And I bring up all these outliers, Brendan, not only on a 2-decade basis, but on a week basis and a day basis, because those odds are presenting me with some edge. Of course, I've been short this US dollar for a couple of weeks now using those SFX options in there, but I'm even looking at a short-term trade in here this week because while anything can happen, I have to lean up against these historical extremes and get me some short USD and some long euro because I think that this is some unsustainable type movement. You probably know as good as anybody that Forex markets, some of the lowest volatility, and given a rise in USD of more than 10%, that's bigger than most years, and we're only at the midpoint of 2022 here. So I think that this market is due for some reversion, whether you are day trading, swing trading, or longer term trading. And that's why I'm definitely on the short side of this US dollar, the long side of euro, selling some puts in that market, because this market is capable of anything, Brendan, to your point. But I mean, this is such an extreme that I have to be on the other side of 20 years worth of data here. Is
it going to take, though, Frank, maybe a significant outlier print on Wednesday for something like that to happen?
That could, it's funny because the inflation number on Wednesday morning is in a lot of ways similar to how we were feeling going into that last FOMC vis-a-vis interest rates. You remember the last FOMC meeting, the U.S. Fed hiked 75 bips, the biggest hike that we've seen in more than 2 decades, coincidence there. And that was the big run-up. You'll remember that the Tuesday going into FOMC, that's where they closed at the highs. And that Wednesday, they ran up rates one last time and then brought them down. And then we saw rates lose, depending on where you're looking, 50 to 60 basis points in the ensuing couple of weeks. So maybe it does take that inflation number, because inflation numbers have been coming in pretty normal around what has been quoted by the analysts that are projecting them. So maybe we see an inflation number on Wednesday, Brendan, that's in line with what's projected. They try to run up that US dollar one more time, and then it comes lower. I don't know. What say you about, do you think that we need one big rush? Maybe they need to break parity with the euro one day before snapping back to some semblance of reversion there.
It definitely feels like it's going to require some sort of reason for that to happen. I mean, we saw even this morning, we gave back the entire move on the 10-year from Friday's jobs report in a matter of a couple of hours this morning. We're right back to that 2.93 area. Let's move on because we're getting on in time here. Gold, silver, the metals, the commodities markets right across the board getting hit a little bit because of the strength in the US dollar. A lot of these obviously priced in USD.
Yeah, I wanted to quickly go through the second and third tier movers here for that US dollar, because I think there's a lot of opportunity in Forex there. And it's a pretty much one-for-one relationship when you talk about US dollar moving higher, euro, yen, and pound moving lower, but maybe not so much thought of this relationship between commodities and currencies. Gold and silver making new multi-year lows, especially that silver market really can't seem to catch its footing. And these are markets that are, yes, priced in US dollar. So all else equal, a more expensive dollar means, gold and silver prices moving lower. But these are some pretty big extremes that we haven't seen since the pandemic days. And you'll remember that in early 2020, you had a metals market that actually shot up to its highs with US dollar trading near its highs here. And so a different type of trade, a more traditional trade whereby dollars are moving higher, gold and silver moving lower. Another market that dollars are starting to push around, not to as great an extent, but still we're seeing some downside, is crude oil here, trading back and forth pretty well here today. A little bit of a bounce back in crude from the overnight. I think it did get down to 101 or maybe even 100 even last night, bouncing back in the short term. But this crude oil market, though it's at $100, Brendan, is $20 off of its highs. And I don't think it's any coincidence that it's falling in tandem with US dollar strengthening. This one's really interesting, though, because we tend to see crude oil have a similar effect as gold and silver when you're talking about trade relative to the US dollar. And so though crude is lower by $20 from its highs, US dollar through its highs and $100 crude is something that's really, really interesting to me from probably a short perspective. Because I don't know, if we were in the middle of last year, Brendan, and I told you US dollars were going to be through their highs and crude was going to be $100, I mean, without this context of Russia and everything else, I would think that was one of the trades of the century is being able to short dollars at 20-year highs and crude oil at $100.
Yeah, I mean, you can add that to the list, maybe, of 1 in 100 things that have happened this year that no one was really expecting at all. I mean, I threw the NASDAQ chart up there as well. We can talk about that even in correlation with the way the U.S. dollar is moving, because that doesn't typically happen either, with stocks coming back to the downside a little bit. We're back to 12,000 here on the NASDAQ. I mean, as far as the week ahead, let's maybe look towards, obviously, Friday, the next time we'll see you. Are we higher or lower at this point?
I think that I'm actually pretty confident in a stock move higher, especially you look at a ton of the data. I love looking at shorter term trade data with stocks. And one of the biggest trends that we've seen historically is when we see a big red Monday in the stock market, the market does tend to bounce back on Tuesday or Wednesday or by the end of that week. And it's not like we're selling off, Brennan, in NASDAQ through 11,000. This market has shown that it can hold 11K, and a 2% down move here today is a great short-term buying opportunity, I think, for that stock market. And like I say, a good short opportunity for US dollars wherever you're trading them, hopefully at the small exchange, given how big of an outlier it is. And yeah, I think that this isn't sustainable. Another weird one, to your point, is stocks now moving inversely from US dollar. Looking at the correlation for the last several years here, you find that Forex, it's one of those markets I love to pitch to people to add to their trading, because it's traditionally so uncorrelated to the stock market, usually has a correlation around 0. You look at the last several months of correlation between the stock market and the US dollar market, and you've got a correlation that's deep in the red, very untraditional. And I think at some point will snap back. To your point, is it this week after the inflation number? Is it next month? Is it hopefully by the end of 2022 here that we see a snapback in some of these markets? I don't know. But yeah, at some point, I would expect dollars to come off of these highs a little bit. And that might be enough for a big rally back in stocks. But yeah, I'd be fairly confident that we end the week higher in that stock market, starting off 2% lower in NASDAQ. I think we'll get a bounce back here.
Yeah, big week ahead. Lots to look forward to. Next time we see you, hopefully, we might get a bit of a pullback here with the USD. It's always an interesting look. Frank Caberna, Director of Product Content and Creative over at the Small Exchange in Chicago. We appreciate your time as always.
Thanks, Brennan.
So tomorrow morning, we just all go long. I mean, right now it's a short. The shorts are coming in right now.
Yeah,
I think that's the first thing we'll talk about. I mean,
I don't know if Frank said to go long exactly, but yeah, he likes the long. That's an interesting stat there.
Look, it's not. It's more nuanced than that. I understand that. I'm having fun with it. Obviously, we do get CPI on Wednesday. That can be a big one. But certainly, you want to play those types of trends on a higher level, and then look for that. Maybe just asking yourself if there's a relatively strong set of stocks or some names that are at good support levels, then you might favor those going into the rest of the week after a Monday like that. So it's not, blindly let's just go long tomorrow morning, but certainly looking for those opportunities makes some sense to me. While we're with Frank, here's VWAP breaking down here on Amazon. So I was willing to get out there, but the market rolled over. We broke support. And looks like we're headed back down after rejecting 12,000 on the NASDAQ. So I'm looking at this 112 level. I think if we break down 112, I'll set a trail on Amazon. I did get into Veru. Apologies, Fahad. And that $16 level we're talking about, it put a wick off top, and I mentioned in the chat, right at 15.50. So it was rolling over a bit, tried to break the high, wick off top there. Close enough. It's close enough to that 16 level that we did jump in on that failure. Essentially at 45, sure, we're risking 10 cents plus slippage, and then we're just going to work out down toward 15. I'm not sure this is going to get down to VWAP here. And the one long, which is somehow still holding up, for me at least, is AMC is still holding. And they actually didn't even get to VWAP or that 1460 level. If we get back down to 1460, I might consider adding, but this is now just riding its 50 period. So I still want to cover some in front of 15 and then look for that breakout. If we get through the high of the day on AMC, that'd be a place to add. So I want to take some shares out in front and buy dips, but I think I'd be taking more if we actually broke the top. And with the market coming down and this kind of holding, maybe it has a chance to go.
75. Yeah, I was just looking at it. Vera was at $16. Wow, it's pretty impressive there for sure.
The CEO's happy.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, yeah, don't worry about that price anytime soon. Here we go, Meta. We did reverse obviously into the short on Meta. We can't sit here and just be long this name. We did have the long. We got another piece out there when we went up to 50, but now we are short Meta into this. So now 23 cents. You know, I'm a changed man. I'm not going to sit here and keep buying bottoms and all that kind of stuff and shorting tops. I tend not to really do that. What I tend to do is like just believe in the long too much on certain names. So if we are able to reverse it in, wow, I was just a couple pennies away from taking about a 40-cent win there on Meta. But, you know, we took the shot down here at 163. The minute that broke, we got out. Then we got back in. I mean, and look at these hits. That's a 29 and then a 10 and an out 98, right? So an average about 17, 18 cent hit there. When we win, that's a 17 out 50. Not everything, about a third there. Then we got hit when it came back down. And there it is right now. We take the same amount of shares and then spin it like this because there it comes, a nice little move to the downside there. So as I was saying, a lot of trading is just going to be about risk to reward, just like what Frank was talking about there with Forex. It might not move that much. So when you do see some movement in that market, you might get divergence back to the mean. And that's kind of the same thing when you're trading stocks as well. Take your hits when you're wrong, but understand that maybe unlike Forex, there is big downside and upside intraday for a lot of these names, especially if the NASDAQ's going to do what it's going to do and possibly touch lows again here today, down to 11,850, I guess is the low. Yeah. 11,850. So we touched 12. We talked about that. That's what we're waiting for. Would have loved to put on a short there in the market. I wonder if Arun is short. I don't know. But that was a great short. He looks more at the ES levels. But that's a good short there on the NASDAQ of 12,000 and a nice little move back in. So, hey, we're going to still run some of these shorts. We just got that meta fill at 58 and we were short 94. So whatever that math works out to, 36 cents or so on the downside, which is about, you know, the kind of hit that we were taking. So now we'll see if this can extend lower. And as I look at Meta, it's my number one stock today, so part of that is because of that trade. But I'm also noticing that we've already bounced off of 162.30. That's the low of the day. So if the low of the day is 162.30 and we're right here right now, you know, maybe worth holding on in case we do get an even extended push down lower. So I will put a bid at 162.30 just to see about that bounce. And then if we can get that, great, we'll take the fill. And then if it continues to go down, hey, at least we still have it on. So let's just respect past levels from the morning. It's 3 o'clock now, it's power hour. I'm in 1, 2, 3, 4 names, 2 shorts. Oh, and Meta now near the day's low, or sorry, Twitter near the day's low, but just bounced off 33. That could be something. And then someone said, like, why are they in Rivian? Or I guess they meant me. I'm not expecting anything. It's really just, it's not a big position. It's coming into this 29.50. I kind of wanted to see what it was going to do down here. That very bottom is 29.30. So I want to take like a half position or something like that in Rivian down here as it gets closer. So I'm waiting on, so you are right, I am waiting. I'm waiting for 29.50 to come through. Then you'll see my average price change dramatically because I'm going to put on a bigger position here and I'm only going to give it 20 cents, man, down to here, 29.25, something like that to the downside. So if Rivian breaks, that's that. I know you're going to talk about Tesla, but you also...
I had a line.
Oh,
I said,
shoot. Okay.
I said it's better to wait for a key price or for your stop than waiting on the world to change.
Good one. Good one.
You know, like so anyways, when I was camping.
Yep. How was that?
For whatever, it was quite good. We'll talk some stories there. Actually, yesterday my brother's actually in town.
Oh, nice. Good.
And we're hiking, and on our hike, when we got about 3.5 kilometers in with my nephew was like 2.5 years old. We had to carry him most of the way.
Oh, really?
My brother realized that he had lost his keys, and he figured that they were somewhere near the beginning of the hike.
Great.
So I was literally double timing it back because we had limited time. So I'm a little bit sore after that. But on the way to camping, driving, I heard that song, which I hadn't heard in a while, the Waiting on the World to Change, and it's been in my head for a while. I'm waiting on Tesla, and I put this in the chat. The last time we had 700 as support on Tesla in the afternoon show, it was a really, really good scalp trade. And I mean, you know, you were like right now the low is 701.65. It was like go long in front of that low, scalp it a couple of busts, tight stop. The second 700 breaks, I'd be out of the trade. So I'm going to start playing that. But understand that didn't work this morning at 735, a level that I liked. And I wasn't sitting here when it gave you that other shot off 700. So as far as that long goes, it is a pure scalp trade. This is not, oh, it's an area stop at 700. I'm going to place my stop at like 97 or something. No, I plan to be long as closely as I can to 700, and I plan to have a stop literally at 699.99. Once we break that 700 level, I am gonzo on Tesla. But the market continuing to work to the downside. Veru, I have not gotten my second fill here. Yeah, I'm on the bid at like 1505.
I put the bid on
move up a little bit. Just I want to get some more shares out here in Vero. Just realizing when I look at that $15 level, there are some decent reasons to believe. If you look at this upward trend, right? There's some decent reasons to believe support can come in here on Veru and maybe take it back toward the high. So I want to get another leg out somewhere. I should just be on 12. Why am I on 11? I'll go on the current bid and see if I can catch a fill. But Veru looking still strong. It's worked off this short on the high. Want to make sure that we're taking profit on the way down here. There was also, there's another one. It was DWAC I wanted to talk about. Because we talked about Twitter, and I forgot. I was in DWAC, and I'm the guy who was short DWAC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate times this morning. 5 times, except for here, when I should have been reloading. I've talked about this a lot of times. Like I'm willing to take my stop out. I took the stop out here at 29. I took the stop out there at 30 on that other trade, and so I'm now down on the stock. And then I don't get back in. The whole purpose of taking that stop out is to watch the failure, either right at 30, if it fails there, jump back in 29.60. If it fails at the high, try to jump into lower consolidation. I never work back into the trade. Forget about that. Now we're talking about this thing breaking back out. The lower high is right here at 29.40, but I'm looking more towards this 30.50 level from the morning, 30 to 30.50. If we get up to that price, I think that's a no-brainer fade for me. And, I mean, the market is now flushing, by the way. So this flood, Amazon's now broken through 112. I'm putting the trailing stop in at 112 quarter. No matter what, we're going to make at least a buck on that trade. So I'll let that ride into the low. And I looked over because I saw the market heading down again and figured, okay, Tesla should be down at the low of the day. It's not. Tesla actually holding at about 704. So as the market just broke down another leg, Tesla found some support, which just makes me like the long at 701 a little bit better. But as a scalp trade, I'm not going to go long 05 because I don't feel like risking $5 on Tesla longs into a weak market. I'd rather be aggressive or at least more liberal with the shorts than jumping away on a long trade and hoping Tesla can bounce.
All right, yeah. Tesla, I mean, stick with what you're doing sort of good at here, and that's why I went back over to Meta, to the well with Meta, and just went short on that name. My number one name today because of the initial short, then a couple great longs, then we danced with it in here, and then now this short starting to push lower. So we just took an out there at 20. Like I said, 162.20 off of a Meta short, 163. You can see where I'm short. So hopefully that'll still be good here for a bit. So we'll wait to see if that one wants to work or not. But Meta to the downside right now continues its movement down in. So that's going to be a good short. The name that's sort of still holding up that I know Neil talked about briefly there when we did our recap was AMC. I mean, I haven't seen, that's the second, it's not the second time, it's multiple times. But like I ran into somebody random again on the weekend, and I mean, obviously not random if I ran into them. I can't remember who it is who told me that they really liked Top Gun. Oh, it was somebody, that's who it was. It was a random parent at my kid's T-ball that was saying that they really liked, but I don't really know their name, that they really liked Top Gun. So I'm wondering if AMC continues to get these kind of bumps as people return to the theaters. I mean, we obviously had that Thor come through, which sort of took everybody by surprise, I guess, on their box number. But yeah, AMC continues to work, and I still like that level. I know you looked at 1380. That was going to be my out here on this 14 long, but we basically have the bottom of the day here in that name, and I can't really zoom out too much more because it only gives me that one day. But on the 20-minute, there it is right there, 1380. It came into play last week as well. And a few weeks ago back there where it was basically the resistance and then the support. We busted through it once, and then when we went through it again, it held one more time. Now, sometimes you're going to look at charts and there's just going to be random prices, and I feel like 1380 is one of those prices. But hey, if you're going to have fun with AMC, give it to that 1380, and then you could see today, that's exactly what we did. We went long at 14, where am I long right here? 14.10. So it's 70 cents in the money, and that would have been against the 30 cents. So right now, it's well worth the risk to reward. We still have a decent piece on 20, 40, 60, 80. We still have 20% on here of AMC, and it just bounced off 15. So I think that's going to be a decent level to look at there for AMC. So, hey, if you're in this name, watch out for a 15 print coming soon. I like the momentum here. Despite the market going to the downside, this continues to work. So watch out for AMC near that 15 mark.
Yeah, and sort of speaking along those lines, I'm still trying to get some out in front of it, but back above 130, at least that morning opening breakout price, is GameStop. So it is kind of curling up here. So the meme stocks have got their strength. I know I'm short Veru, but I don't look at our program scheme very often, but like the second I looked at it, I'm like, oh, the position just went again. So the next time we take
Why don't we have position board again? Yeah, something's going on with that.
It's been happening a few times there, but then when we take our next fill, it pops back in. I did get that second leg out on Veru, and I still say, like, you're still in an upward trend. Yes, it's giving you the short off the top, but that's a scalp trade. You know, I still have a piece of this. I'm definitely going to be adjusting this stop here through the high of the day. I'm not sure I want to reload. I think if I get into this again, it would be 16 or a lot closer to that 16 price. And if it breaks 15 even here, I'd be looking 1475 or VWAP. That'd be the target. So I'm now backing away from this. It's binary now. We either retest the high and then we break the high, I'm out. Or if we fail off that high, you can reload. And then we're looking for a drop below $15 on Veru. If you are in the long right now, it's giving you not a ton of reasons to do more than, I guess, scale a little bit out. Certainly, it's got a lot of strength to it still, and the trend has just been, it was parabolic at 9:30, but if you look at it from about noon, that's about as linear as it gets. This is the deepest pullback it's had so far, and maybe it's not done just yet. We do have one of our favorite guests here today, Brendan at the big screen, and he's got, Patetra there? No?
I mean, he's a very popular guest. One of our favorites. I don't know, the way he's looking today, very handsome gentleman over there.
He is a handsome gentleman.
It's Justin Kozach back with us again. Day Trade the World marketing guy. Good to see you as always. We are talking the morning note. As I mentioned, I kind of teased it the last time we spoke.
The morning note?
The opening bell.
It's the morning note.
You and I were just talking about that.
Technically, it's the morning note.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, it's the unofficial name.
It's the opening bell. It's the day trade. I'll let you do the talking, but we kind of teased it the last time that you were on, how there's so much demand and it's going so well that we might need to do more of these.
Right. 865 million subscribers in the last week. Give or take, 1 or 2.
1 or 2
million. So last week we threw out a poll on Twitter and we got 44 million votes saying everybody wanted to receive this thing on a monthly, geez, that would be great, on a weekly basis at 9 or 8:30 in the morning on a Monday, and that's what we're going to do. The people have spoken, and they've asked for it for Monday. So going forward, I'm actually on vacation next week, so I will be taking a much-needed break. Sean's looking at me like, vacation? What vacation? I know, they give me time off here.
Not allowed.
Amazingly. Yeah, not allowed. So next week, there won't be one, but starting Monday, the week of whatever that day I'm back, the 25th, every Monday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the opening, I almost called it the morning, no, the opening bell
It's a great name.
Newsletter will be out. And available for reading for the masses. And I think I can do the opening bell, ringing the opening bell on Mondays now. So if that's okay with you guys, we'll do that then. So
you are slated in.
Excellent. The next opening bell is coming out tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. The last time it ever comes out on a Tuesday. So print it out, frame it. I will happily autograph it. It'll be worth less than. You can get it at daytradetheworld.com/opening. This week we'll be talking about best stocks to buy during a recession, identifying the direction and strengths of trends, and how to stay sane during a recession. So lots of great content, both from the Day Trade the World blog and from your favorite YouTube channel, the Trader TV live show.
Sanity is key, always. And we do enjoy the opening bell. Justin Kozach, Day Trade the World marketing guy. Always a pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Brendan never asked him where he's going. Are you going anywhere, Justin?
I am. I've actually got my kids for the week, so I'm going to be hanging out with my daughter for the first half. And my son is celebrating his 11th birthday.
Ooh-wee.
And he graduated from. I guess he's graduated from. They do graduations at grade 5 now, so now he's going to middle school. So I got him a really nice birthday present for his 11th birthday and for graduation. He's getting Super Mario 3 All Stars for Switch.
Ooh.
Hopefully he's not watching. If he was watching this show, I would be very,
Bad
very
things
impressed.
would happen anyway.
He would be like, bad things would definitely happen. He would have his birthday completely ruined.
What's his name?
Technically, he already knows what it is. So his name is Sam.
Sam, happy birthday, Sam. Go back to class.
He doesn't have school. School's over for
right.
them.
Yeah,
Come on, you know, this is how you know, Brendan.
What am I thinking?
This is the problem. This just in, school is out right now.
It is
this is
summertime.
breaking news. That's how you know. Like for example, after the morning show, I call my wife and I'm like, "How are the kids' summer camps?" You know, because one was in gymnastics and one's in swimming. Yeah, so there you have it. Thanks, Justin, for that one.
I forgot to tell you.
And a happy birthday to Sam.
So, anyways, sorry about this, but I haven't. Sean was away, right, and then I was away, so I haven't seen Sean since like 2
a week
weeks
and a
ago.
half about.
So guess
what's
what?
up, Rob?
Guess what? My daughter's doing arts and crafts.
Yes.
And for the first time ever, I'm like, she says to me in the middle of doing arts and crafts on the weekend, and she turns up and I'm reading my book, and she says, "Daddy, don't look at me. Don't look at me right now." I'm like, why would she? Like, because usually if she says that, something bad's about to happen. I'm like, she's
put,
doing the
makeup
arts and
on her
crafts.
face or something.
She's not doing anything that would cause me that kind of concern. I don't think anything of it. And I look back down, and then I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right. And then I look up, and there's like this lump of something next to her.
Okay.
So what do you think it is? She starts cutting her hair, which I guess everybody does.
Oh no.
So she's going at her hair, and I
thought she drew on her face. That would have been better.
Oh, she
but
does that all the
cutting
time.
of the hair.
She starts cutting her own hair, and I'm like,
How
oh my
much though?
goodness.
Like
She's got a
Yeah, I
lot,
know,
but
a lot.
it was enough.
Enough to notice?
Like Rebecca was pretty unhappy about it.
Okay, so she
But I was
noticed.
just like, and my first initial reaction was like, I wanted to like chuckle, but I was like, no, you can't be doing that. And so now we have to do the whole, you're not allowed to have the scissors by yourself.
Oh yeah,
and
don't run
all
with
that
scissors
goes.
for sure.
All that
My
stuff.
daughter came with like a little. We noticed that she was missing some of her eyebrows. So I don't know if she's in some sort of a gang or something because they marked out one of their eye, and she's like denied it all. 7 years old.
You got to roll with something.
I don't know. I don't understand. Yeah. So that's. I told you I'm from the streets, so my kids are going to be copying me for sure, right? Okay, so let's just move on. Yeah, that's funny. Watch out for that. The kids love cutting their hair and their clothes and like random stuff like that. But
In
hey,
some ways, the clothes it can be worse because the hair grows
it's
back.
all cute. You know what? Eventually, you'll wish.
Although it's the style now.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Oh, by the
That's
way,
the style.
yeah.
Here comes Rivian.
Guess who missed? I was just talking about 30 on DWAC, and then DWAC goes right to 29.85, and then I'm mesmerized by by Justin up there listening to him talk, and then miss out on the short. And DWAC
Mesmerized by Justin?
I don't know. He's looking all sharp and everything, doing his thing.
All right.
And I missed my 30 short in DWAC, so we'll look to get this the second time through.
Sharp-dressed man.
Yeah. Look, I don't even know if I'm going to get it, but at this point, with the market coming down, the shorts are working. They're printing. 700's coming up on Tesla. What was relatively strong, and I will look at this one, Charlie. There, Apple was relatively strong. It's about to break support. So right now, Apple's higher low, and when it bounced off VWAP, was right here, just below 145. So that's rolling over. This is why I think if you've got the shorts, hold on to them. If you have a stock that's at a support level, well, it's about to get tested, I think. Because when the big boys roll over, and this is Apple breaking support, then I think the futures are headed toward those lows, as Sean mentioned. So here's the NASDAQ. Still a ways to go here, about 35 points. The ES, a little bit closer, about 5 handles away from that 38.50 that held this morning. So the only bid I'm looking to defend, I'm long above VWAP on AMC, but the bid I'm looking to defend would be Tesla at 700, but it's got to be real close to it. I'm not going to fight that stock too far. And then somebody mentioned when I said I was putting a trailing stop in, I think it was like, why do you use trailing stop if you always complain about them? So when I say I suck using trailing stops, usually that complaint is in the mornings. I'll get out of something too early and then it continues going. In the afternoon, Sean and I have to be flat, meaning close our positions by the end of the day. They're a little bit more of a necessity in the afternoon. Like, I'm just going to be taking profit anyways on Amazon, so it does make some sense for me to work a trailing stop in here, given the fact that I can't hold this for more than 40 minutes anyways. I just got into DWAC, not the first time. It touched 30, but here the second time running through that high. So risk to reward, 25 cents plus slippage, and we'll see if it can't go back down. Now, this is obviously a relatively strong stock today, mostly a sympathy play from Twitter, from Elon breaking out of Twitter, and then Trump tweeting some things. So I guess I can't say tweeting some things. He was on.
What do you call it? So if you're on Twitter and you're mentioning
stuff,
stuff,
is there an adjective for that?
You're tweeting. Are you DWACking?
No, it's truth. Are you truthing? I don't.
Are you spreading the truth?
There you go. Spreading the truth thing, I don't know. You guys know what I'm talking about,
The
right?
CEO of Veru liked that de-whacking stuff there, so he liked that one. But
what was the thing on The Simpsons? It was like whack. They had a whole bit about that. It was it was years ago.
What was it? I don't know that one.
It was like whacking day, where you go around, they'd kill snakes or something.
Oh, okay.
Is that what they called it?
I don't know. I was thinking about something else. We better not go there. But what
God,
I was, you said whack-a-mole. You said whacking, and then I was thinking that's one of my kids' favorite arcade games, the whack-a-mole there. So that's a very popular game in our household for sure. Okay, so let's just move on from all of that.
Said that.
But we're just going to wait to see here about whack-a-mole and DWAC, as we can have a quick look at that. Were you just in it now, or you were just looking at it? Because
I just got in short in 74.
right,
so
against that 30
against
probably.
30.
Okay, yeah, so. Wow, up 21% there. And again, because of that Twitter news, obviously this continues to be an issue there for DWAC and for everybody else there, looking at where the market's going to go on this news there. And this definitely up to 21%. The funny thing about DWAC, of course, was that when it first came out, we saw that huge move to $180 in 1 or 2 days. And then since then, we've just last week revisited basically all-time lows here on DWAC, besides when it was a SPAC. So look out for those levels to possibly hold again, $22, $23 or so, holding out right now on that. So let's wait to see where it goes, but I do like that little spot there for anybody on DWAC. If you are long enough, watch out for 20 break, but you're definitely down to that area. Meta looks like it was a good out when we were down there. Like I said, I don't know where we're going to go from here on Meta. So I'm going to try to hold this short. We've come in. We just made a nice new low there on the day down there at 162. So hopefully that can hold. And if it does, man, we're going to be here on Meta, possibly averaging in, but I don't mind it if we get back in here to 163. I know that'll turn me into a loser, but I kind of want that same price again there. So we'll wait to
trade into a loser.
Yeah. And turn me into a loser for holding it as well. So hopefully Meta will come back up and we'll get that 163.40. But for right now, let's hold it as a short, as the market just barcoding right now. And I think it wants to go lower. The number one name, I'm looking for an AMD short here if we get anywhere near 77. So we're getting pretty close to it right now. I just don't want to pay right now for it. I'd rather have it bump up and then get us something near some of these levels here. Out 77.50 if we take it. But into here, 77.10, 77.20, something like that there for AMD.
I knew I'd forgotten something, and it was that 153 on NVIDIA. Yeah. Anyways, now NVIDIA's at 151, so you can pretty much forget about that. That support turning into resistance. It's really resistance now, obviously. DWAC pulling back a little bit here. You know what's interesting? Like the market continues to grind lower, and there is no fill to be had for me on Tesla at 700. So like this is managing to hold above that low at 702, but I'm not chasing it. When the market is weak and you're looking for longs at the bottoms, let it come to you. Don't compromise. So I've learned that lesson the hard way a few times. I just got 1-to-1 on DWAC, and I'll look for VWAP here for the rest. It's breaking out, right? So I'm just playing off that 30 level. So I'll always take some out at 1-to-1, and then see if we can't break down closer to VWAP here for the rest of it. Still not going to let it get through 30 even. Veru is starting to level off a little bit. So that trend to the upside, yeah, that could be continuing for us. For anybody that's long, I'm shorted, so I kind of want it to fall down. But at this point, it can't turn into a loser unless I somehow just like average into more shares and hold them through the stop, which I'm not going to do. At least that's the plan not to. I did want to go over to AMC. It's all well and good to have some relative strength and hold up, but it's still just going sideways. That's the unfortunate part of this. It feels like it does want to try to go, but maybe the market's just selling off too much. It might actually require this market to bounce a little bit for AMC to do anything for me outside of the fading that it's doing right here. So kind of a disappointing story here for AMC. And GameStop, that's already pulled back below 130. So this is actually dropping into VWAP. At least AMC's not doing that, but that's about all I can say.
Yeah, we're going to... right now we'll just hit the siren alert because it's a new position right now for us. There it is right there. We're in AMD finally. So it just came up here. Everyone can take it right now at the same price. I said I was waiting for 77s. We got it, 76.95. So there it is right now. I want to average in around here, 77.20 or so, to put on a bigger position. And then we'll just wait to see. As I said, this market's barcoding. Oh, you know what we haven't asked for yet is the imbalances. I don't know. It's a little early, but I would prefer them to be negative right now because we're short Meta and we are short AMD. So a negative imbalance would be good for me if that were to come through. It's a little early for it, and I don't expect anything on the imbalance locator today. Sometimes it can surprise you, especially with bank earnings on deck. I know tomorrow's only Pepsi, and then I think the banks are Wednesday morning, so we'll see when those come out. So that might be more exciting then. But I like this AMD short against this level. You're down 3%. You're only down 2% in the NASDAQ, so definitely some weakness there. And I've liked the short on this name because we broke through that 80 and held it there on Friday. So we have been only short AMD, and it hasn't been really successful. We were down on AMD before this trade, and we may be down again after this. So let's just wait out for it. 77.50 is right up here. So let's give it some work. If it goes up, we are averaging in. My next average price will be at 77.30. So right around here, I just want to take it 20, 30 cents or so against myself. If it does go out, worth the risk here for AMD. Not really averaging in, not really doing anything to this until we get a little higher up on that one. And then here we go. So now we're finally in. I told you my price would change relatively dramatic, and it did sort of there, $29.75 on AMD. So we'll see where that one's coming through right now. Sorry, not on AMD. On Rivian, $29.75 is the long. Let's see if it does hold out hope here for that bottom. So hopefully we can hold it, and that's what I'm looking at right here, is this 29.25 bottom right there. So if it doesn't go, fine, we'll get out of this one. But if there is going to be a little bounce up in the market, I don't mind it on Rivian. But now that this is my price, we can get out a half for flat maybe. 29.75 is the 50 period. So maybe we did a little bit of work there on that, but let's see if Rivian can go, especially if this market goes. It'll be a loser for AMD, but a nice winner for Rivian. So kind of like back and forth here as we go.
Yeah, and speaking of back and forth, there has been no back and forth in Coinbase. I know we haven't talked a lot of crypto.
There was news about Coinbase.
Was it today?
Just now, 40 minutes ago. Did it move at all?
Yeah, a little bit. It had a big tick to the downside there.
They rebranded to Coinbase Explore?
Okay.
New pricing. Brendan, maybe Brendan can find that in a second.
I know there was, Binance is under some pressure.
What is crypto even doing today?
No,
Why haven't
we're essentially going sideways on Bitcoin, so it's not a heck of a lot. But the trend on Coinbase has been, it's been putrid. But the only thing more putrid than the downtrend on Coinbase is me getting stopped out at 57. And every now and then you're going to have one of these bad boys. The only thing I can say is this is at least not the high of the day. But I went to short it off that 57 level, and sometimes you just don't give it enough room. My stop was not at 57 even. I put it above there, I think at like 15 or 11 or 15, something just above that 57 mark. So I gave it a little bit of room, and just not enough. And then you see it flushing. But 55 looks like a pretty good level of resistance. But something there with coin, Brendo?
Yeah, it looks like an upgraded product or a version of Coinbase that will provide not only lower fees, as you guys are saying, but also research available for individual crypto assets. So as you were saying, this Coinbase Explorer, guys, looks like a research tool or an upgraded product to the basic version of now Coinbase.
They
basic version.
They sold that news, but the market had come down. So, it's always hard to tell whether that's reacting. The volume spike wasn't that big, but it did break the low on that. Finally, a little bit of a move to the upside. And now I'm going to do the whole not rinse and repeat, but I finally got at least something out in front of the high on AMC. So now I'm just going to, if we fall back down again, I'm going to get on the bid, this time in the 70s here. It's holding up pretty nicely. We still haven't broken out. We are running out of time for the breakout trade to be in play on AMC, but we can at least recover back to the highs and give me something. DWAC, decent pullback. Oh, give me a break. You know what? Sometimes, and I'm saying give me a break, because you can see, oh, wait, I was about to complain about the fact that I couldn't catch a fill in DWAC close to VWAP, and I was just going to cross up 15 cents higher, and then I got the fill, so why not? We'll celebrate that. Keep in mind, there were 2 shots at this off of 30. I missed the first one, got the second one. I'm still not going to be that happy with my DWAC trading, because this morning, this should have been my best stock. Instead, it's my worst, right? And that'll happen to you. If you're going to have multiple stops and you want to get into this, if you want to get into this and basically stop about 2 or 3 times and then try and play the trend by catching it on each reversal, then you've got to find your way back into this. And it did give me ample opportunity to get back in, whether it was at 30.5, whether it was here under 30 bucks, whether it was here at about 29. There were shots to get back in. I just managed not to be able to do it. So that's on me. Sometimes you lose, but you got to be able to move on. Like I didn't go hunting for longs or anything to revenge, and then I didn't trade it till it got back to the prices that I liked here in the afternoon. So it looks like we're going to be getting out of a few of these bad boys. And with the market headed towards lows, you're still in Twitter, right?
Yeah, I mean, $2 in the money now.
Twitter just, well, 33 even is on, almost on the bid right now. So Twitter is going to that $33 level. I mean, eventually this could be headed to 30, but it's now SSR, so it's short sell restricted, down that 10% and breaking, it looks like 33 even. Ooh, what a gong show Twitter has been, and it might not get any prettier the next couple of days and weeks.
No, I really think we see a 30 bottom, and then not bottom. I think we see a 30 print, and then we'll see about Twitter from there. I just don't see any reason for that name to go back up to the upside, unless again, like we mentioned all day, every day here on the Sticky Note, that headline risk. Please, guys, hit the like button. If you hit the subscribe, hit the share, hit the like button. This has been a great show, man. We had a lot of good fun on this show today. We got
Frank talking Bow Wow.
We got Frank talking. We got lots of stuff happening right now. Bow Wow. He also dropped some. I guess he dropped a couple bars there, but I think it was like one liner there.
We got D-whacking going on here.
Yeah, Neil's whacking the D's over there, and then
that doesn't even.
What?
It's the stock D-whack, bro. Why you got to think about it that way?
Come on, Prad.
That's Prad, by the way, in the corner.
Anyways, all right, as we go, but all right, let's just keep on going.
I need something to throw at this guy now and then.
Someone texted me and said that I missed Arun throwing a slip. Did that slipper throw happen?
No, I mean,
did a slipper throw happen?
Yeah, it wasn't the slipper.
Oh, not an official slipper. The good thing about the slipper is you have that rubber bottom or whatever, so you can.
If a rune wound up and threw something that had any girth to it or any weight to it at Prad, then we'd have no midday host. And like Arun played center field in high school. Apparently he has a cannon they wanted him to pitch, and he's a big boy, man. Prad, I don't know why he talks trash to him.
I mean, Arun's high school days, I mean, he's in great shape and everything like that. I don't know if his arm would still be in the same condition, but...
at this range, I think it'd be good enough.
Oh, at this, yeah. I
don't think it'd be too
11 feet or something?
I'm pretty sure I could do damage at this range.
Yes, this is a big one there. Although my shoulder, I don't know, like the older I get, man, like, I'm just, like I said, I was just throwing out some fly balls and stuff. It's like, oh my God.
Click?
Now I got it. Yes, it starts to click and everything
like
like
that. If I do
that.
this, like my right shoulder just clicks.
Oh my God. So anyways,
AMC, baby.
all right, AMC. Ooh, yeah. Well, where did you get long? You reloaded it, right?
I've been sitting at this thing. I'm on the bid for 70s
I don't even have any offers out right now.
But I've been loading up those 80s and now we're finally getting back to where we were in the morning, that 15 level. I'm just looking for AMC to finally break out. Like I want to hold on to something.
I got you.
I want this to break out. We still have just under a half an hour to go. So there's a chance for this to run to the high of the day. I mean, there's not a heck of a lot that's bouncing that much. Tesla never gave us the entry at 700, unfortunately. 702, the best you can get. So might have to get away from that trade. We might not actually get a chance to see it, but 700 is going to be support for tomorrow. I guess we can take a look at it. Going to have to start thinking about where to get out of a firm. I'm sitting in front of 21. It goes to 2105, and I'm sitting at 20. Yeah, give me a break. I'm at 2104. This is one that I've been sitting in pretty much all day long. I missed that first push because I wanted to short off of Friday's highs, and then it didn't get to 2350. Failure. We just take the trade we could get, which is off of 22, and now you see it coming back in here. I'm just going to pop on the bid. I need to just get out of this. Just take the win where it's going to be, and it might have to be these quarters. We are running out of time on the day here, guys, and the imbalances are a small, they're pretty much flat. It's just infinitesimally small sell coming from financial juice there. So I think insignificant, but a firm actually bounced there with the market, which means Amazon could be bouncing as well. Yeah, slight bounce in Amazon. I might tighten the stop up or just, I'll tighten the stop up. Get on the bid here probably at 111.75 or so just to be able to take this trade out. It's worked off that 113.50 resistance level. I'll be using that tomorrow as well. I mean, if we can short off these levels that worked in the afternoon today and try to take these tomorrow, then we'll go back to that well for sure.
Where are you going?
There's nothing to trade. What did he say? What did he say?
There's nothing to trade. Yeah, that's good. You hit him a little bit there. That wasn't bad. There's nothing to... Oh, you weren't here when Arun was like, yo, This guy sits there in the midday, does whatever, and then when the markets finally move, he's nowhere to be found.
There was a point yesterday, not to harp on you, Brad, but there was a point on
Nothing
Thursday
to trade.
or Friday.
1, 2, I'm in 5 positions.
Where they were just like, the market's not moving. And like, Arun looked over, and Arun had one trade that day in equities.
Yeah,
and
watch
even
out,
he
man.
was like, look at the futures up and down. Like, it's giving you top to bottom.
Yes.
Because you can't complain about there being nothing to trade when you're getting stocks. Like, look at what NVIDIA's done in the close of the show. Like, essentially, it's given you the top since 2 o'clock and then retraced all the way to the low of the day, bounced off 150 and given you $1 retracement back.
Neil,
So,
there's nothing to trade.
oh, yeah, my bad. There's nothing to trade.
Okay.
Let's get out of here. Let's just
Okay,
go.
let's wrap this up.
wrap it up.
No, and the thing is,
Nothing to
I know
trade.
we're giving Pratt a hard
Well, it
time
actually hurts.
just because it is. I know. See, now you realize. See, you threw it 11 feet. And you were like, oh, I got this. And now you're going to need shoulder surgery. Okay, so
Tommy John right there.
yeah, Tommy John. Yeah, don't we all need that? What's going on with Nate Pearson, by the way?
I got
Is
him
that guy ever coming
I got him
back?
in fantasy. That's the problem with Nate
Yeah.
Pearson.
Okay. All right. So just some more Blue Jays talk. Shout out to the Blue Jays who are now 1-9 in their last 10.
they can't
Okay.
buy it.
So yeah, they can't buy a victory, and we just pay. So my daughter plays for the Mariners.
You sign her up.
So she no. The funny part is just she was. I could show you. She's doing some nice hits.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's better than the Jays right now.
Well, yeah, but anyways, the joke was she was cheering for the Mariners all weekend against the Jays. I was like, no, what are you doing? She's like, I'm on the Mariners. Because I think she thinks like she's part of like a farm team or something. So anyways, High Park Mariners, my daughter. But okay.
The show is the show.
Yeah, exactly. So she wants to get to that show eventually. I don't know. We'll see, hopefully. All right, so just for all you naysayers, how you like that right now? But pigs do get slaughtered on Rivian. We did talk about where we wanted to go long on that name, so guess what we did? We went long on Rivian, right there at 55, and we wanted to see what was it going to do. Remember I said what the average price was? $29.75. So Rivian comes back to that price, and we get a piece out. So now we'll hold the rest of this as Rivian making dreams come true, just not mine. Hopefully it can come up to the upside right now and hit this even longer as we await the Rivian move to the upside. I'm hoping for anyways, back up near that 30. But we did take out about 40% on that retrace back up. Not trying to be a hero in anything. What was that?
No, like that spike that we just saw up got faded so hard
In
there.
the
Like,
market, yeah.
I was just talking about a firm like spiking up, and it just retraced. Like I was talking about maybe getting out of that one. Whoops, and now I'm out of it.
Oh, and I just realized.
This went accidentally long, which eventually sometimes that happens. I hate when that happens.
Never go accidentally long a firm.
No.
Because
Well, you know the crazy thing about it? So I ended up getting out of my last shares and accidentally punched long by putting too many in. But then paying the spread in that case actually got me 4 cents. Although if you have an accidental position, you should always just get out, right? So I punched out right away. It just so happened to be a winning trade. But you never want to hold on to something that you didn't mean to take. I just think you pay the spread and walk away from it. I've been in that decision for every now and then you do the other thing where you're like, oh, I can work this. I'll work that position, and then next thing you know, you're shut down and you're losing more than you anticipated. Nah, it's just not worth it. But a firm going to ring the register. Amazon, I'm going to stick with the trail because I want to hold, just in case we flush into the close. I want to hold on to Amazon. All I will do is probably just tighten up this stop a little bit, the trailing stop, and try to hold this for the low of the day. As far as Veru goes, this might just be done. I'm not sure we're going to get too much more out of this. It just try to put in a higher, try to make a run at the high of the day again. Failed at 15.35 and is rolling back over, but 15's been support. If we hold 15 in the next couple of minutes, then I'll just tighten this trail up to about 15.35 right here, just so we don't lose on the last of this, and I'll plot my bid down around 14.75 or so, just to see if we do get a little bit of a flush there on Veru. Still a strong stock. We'll probably come into this thinking, the initial read for me will probably be thinking about longs on Veru tomorrow, as long as we're above this 14.50, but for now it is looking like it wants to fade down to VWAP.
All right, just quickly here, 163. Yeah, I want to give. I was looking. Sorry, wrong screen here. I'm in AMD, but the not real concern. I don't have too many here, but Meta just bounced. So we did short Meta here. I was giving it to this. I'm thinking about just this 163.50. So let's average in one more time into Meta if we can, and then use this 163.50 or so as an out. So 163. I just putting an order out right now. 163. Just trying to find a spot. I mean, I don't mind it right in the middle. I mean, you don't have to be too specific with this. I mean, Meta's either going to go up or go down right there. So yeah, and the reason why we say that is just like, what are these futures really going to do when we have 20 minutes left? And again, Neil, myself, Brendan, Pratt, every trader that you see here at Day Trade the World needs to be flat heading into 4 o'clock. So, you know, this is always in the back of our mind here. Do we want to actually be into something that can move the right amount into the close? So yeah, debating it, but possibly. That's why I want to take a 23 to get out here around 50. I might not, I'm probably not even going to do this. I'm going to hold out. If it goes, yeah, if it goes down, let's not be too crazy there. I saw someone say take a break, too many mistakes for us today. I don't know. I have one red name today, so it's been a good one, and that's going to be Rivian. And then right now, Rivian's 11 cents in the money, so I don't think we've made too many mistakes. But right there, 163.50, where I was in right there, I'm going to get out on a break of 163.50. Trust me, the account can hold a 50-cent hit. We just took right there 50 cents on the first third and then 80 cents on the second third. So let's hold out that the market stays low here today under this number, and then we'll just go from there, okay? So that's sort of the plan of action that I have here. Did I hear a call for Brendo and I just kept going? What's up, Brendan?
Just quickly, guys, on just watch crypto stocks here. I mean, it hasn't worked before, but Citron Research just tweeting not too friendly about both Ethereum and Bitcoin, saying they basically have no value. So Citron tweet there on crypto. Wanted to show you this as well. TH on the NASDAQ pulling back into a decent level here, up 20%. Look at this daily chart. 1, 2, 3 monster days through 9 now for TH after they raised their guidance last week. A couple additional price target increases for TH today. So a huge mover past 3 days.
There you go. And yeah, I mean, obviously we've seen those reports, like you said, the short seller reports before weighing on it. For what it's worth, I just looked at coin. This is still on the lows. I guess the market's at the low. So nothing crazy has happened there. That was the one I was watching. I wanted to fade Coinbase on any kind of a pop this afternoon. There just wasn't one, unfortunately. So we're just going to be managing the 3 that we got. I'm not sure I see anything too crazy here. I wish we had a little bit more time because, you know, I look at Tesla and it's showing some serious signs that with a bounce it would want to go. The problem with looking at a breakout, maybe at like 7s, 8s around here, is it's just not a good risk to reward with this little time left into a weak market. So the 700, any kind of long, we might have to wait until tomorrow, unfortunately. We'll just have to ride Amazon and then work out of this AMC, which is definitely running out of time to get through that high of the day. Got up to 15. 1497 in particular, and then just reversed there. So I'll probably have to get on the offer a little bit more here and just take this. It's not going to be, you know, at this point you're getting like 10, 15 cents at best. So at least for myself, because I never got any of those 70s. Should have been more aggressive in bidding. I thought we'd get down to VWAP, and it just never happened. Tight range, but still a relatively strong name. So I'll come in tomorrow thinking that we're still favoring the opportunities for longs in AMC, and in particular, there will be that chance that you can get a breakout through Friday's high. I saw Hanzo asking about PDD, Pinduo Duo, and overnights. Look, I love the short on Pinduo Duo, and I understand. Like I've said this before, when it comes to shorting things overnight, what we do here is day trading, so a lot of these setups do not work. And I don't think it's a great idea to look for those types of trades. All that being said, if this is your cup of tea, you are in a trend break to the downside, right? You have failed the 200 period moving average. You've broken 60. So if your short is off of that 60, which is perfectly valid, then holding it through that makes some sense. There's room to get down to the 50 period moving average, down to 50 even. Understandably, if you had the short that I was able to get into and it's at 55.5, that doesn't make any sense at all. If you were short from the morning, that makes all the sense in the world. Maybe you've covered some and you're rolling into it. I don't know how much I love holding the 55 short because it's a lot better an entry, the one that we wanted off that 58, 59 area. So, you know, if you've got it from really early, that makes all the sense in the world. You're so deep in the money at that point, it makes sense. But, you know, if you're basically only $1 in the money or even less than that from here, I can't say that makes sense to hold overnight, unfortunately. I know that's probably not the answer you wanted to hear.
Well, sometimes you don't always hear the answers you want, but if it's the truth and it's an opinion, then that's a good one, and especially a qualified one from Mr. Neil Roberts. See how I said Neil there? So Not to confuse with your father, because every time I say that.
There's only one Mr.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I've heard the spiel. Okay, so we did average into Meta there. We said we wouldn't, but 163.20. We took that short. We just took it some out there for 163. Hopefully it can move back down in. We are waiting on the bid again here for Meta down near 85 to take another piece out. So, hey, man, the party keeps on going. 20 cents in the money now for Meta and reload. Not there. What did we just get? We didn't get anything. AMD. That's what I want to talk about. So we just shorted AMD as well near 77.30 again, both against the 50s. So AMD 77.50, we're short against that. And then we are short Meta against 163.50. So we'll play this. We'll see if we get a little bit of spice here into the close to the downside is what we're hoping for. But remember, most of the time, I shouldn't say every time, these imbalances, you can't rely on them to take your position in or out. So we'll still play levels, but we are watching out for these imbalances coming very soon. Here comes the NASDAQ back in. Here comes Meta. Hopefully Meta will print us for that dime. And, what's up, Brendan?
I just want to mention Warner Brothers, guys. WBD just popping up on big volume spike there. It's kind of a strange headline. To be in talks with Amazon for a new HBO Max deal. Can you watch HBO Max names on Amazon Prime?
Yeah, so I have, on Crave here in Canada, I have HBO. I don't know if it's HBO Max or not, but there is an availability there. If Amazon can add content like HBO, hello, I am very bullish on that one.
Why is it tanking? I'm in Amazon short, and it just rolled over on that. I'm kind of thinking I should just take this out.
Look at this market coming back down into the downside here. We are going to end the day at our highest spot. And Internet Enforcer said something pretty funny there. He's like, we should replace that Superman with Pratt underneath us there. So we can wait to see about that one, whether or not we're going to do it. But a big homage there. We keep leaving that one out for Miss V. Bless you. There goes Meta. And there's the other fill. So yes, sir. If you don't like the power hour, then I don't know what to tell you, because here's multiple. I just see my net going up, so I can't say that everybody else is. We did get some out of Rivian again there at 75 one more time. Now that Rivian's doing this, I'm out at the end of the day here. There's only 15 minutes left. If we break this bottom, 29.50. So right now, I'm just getting this all set up. I have some beautiful shorts on, obviously here. Not obviously, but let's watch out for AMD down to 77.07. Let's put another bid out there. We just took some more outs at 77 there for Meta and for AMD. Down goes AMD. We just loaded this trade in, man. 70. Look at all these shorts. Shorts. We loaded it in again there at 77.30. We talked about that. So giving ourselves here 20 cents worth of risk. Now in the money, 30 cents. So well worth it on that one. 30-cent winner for AMD. Dollar winner for AMC. 25 cents in the money for Meta. Rivian, 8 cents in the money. And guess what is at its day low? Let's barbecue up some profits. We're cooking burgers on the grill tonight. And there it is right now. Hopefully we don't get a blowout as we go to the downside. Adios, Twitter. Let's just get out of this one with only 15 minutes left. Down to its day low. It's always great when you look over and every single position you have is killing it. So we're happy with that right now. 3 shorts, 1 long, 2 longs, Rivian and AMC.
Yeah, I definitely am not going to look that gift horse.
Nothing to trade, Neil.
On AMZ, and there's nothing to trade. But Amazon, like you said, that sounded like good news, and the stock rolled over like 40 cents. So I just took the out. We'll get a couple bucks on that one. It'll just be the last of Veru and then AMC if it can get to the high of the day. Both of these, well, probably more so AMC. I'd be inclined to try to hold as close to 4 o'clock as I can. Sometimes you get that late day push. I know I tried this on Friday and we didn't get that late day push, but the longs were still productive on Friday. We'll see if we can do the same thing. You wiped out some bottoms here on AMC, and I feel like you did stop a few people out, and maybe we'll get the breakout tomorrow, but for now I want to be long into this close. Looks like it's going to be a solid one. Amazon I talked about there, it was a weird move. It rolled over. We got out there at 111.75 or so. We were able to get out of the short on Amazon. And not a heck of a lot moving at that end of the day there, unfortunately. There were a few. That Warner Brothers, I think Brendan showed it specifically. Whoops. That's on the NASDAQ. WBA, it's Warner Brothers. My thought is 3 letters. It's going to be on New York.
You can't think like that anymore.
WBD. What am I doing?
Yeah, you can't think like that anymore. There's so many names that are back and forth there.
But that spike
It
on
used
Warner
to be.
Brothers.
Used to be.
So it spiked to the upside, and then it immediately reversed. So I guess in the context of that drop in Amazon, well, they both were reversing on that spike. That got sold off pretty heavily right away. So maybe that could be the reason, like they sold off Amazon. I'm canceling my bids on Tesla. This late in the day with 12 minutes to go, I don't care if it bounces off 700. There's not enough time for that to run, so I'm going to cancel my stop. I'm going to cancel those orders. I do not want that fill at 701 if it does come down there.
I'm basically doing the exact same thing right now, except for what we're doing right now is we're going dun 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. It used to have a sound, and maybe it does, right there, because look at Rivian right now. Rivian, 25 cents in the money. That's starting to cash out for us as well. We take another out. Let's go Rivian. I'm winning at 85 for an out right there. Meta, not doing much, but we're already out. We're going to wait to see. I might just get out of Meta. Where am I short? 163.16. Let's just get out if this takes out 163. Let's just put it at 50 again. I don't really like this imbalance situation that's coming in a minute and a half, so we'll watch out for that as that's coming through. And then AMD has been really cashed out there as we approach VWAP, so we're just kind of cashing that one out. Twitter to the downside as well, and then AMC. But here we go. This is what I want to say thanks to everybody. Someone on the chat there said they like that one. Great work, Sean, but that's not what it was. It was say they love us two dudes. So I want to say thank you to that one as well. There it is. Oh, what's up, Josh Jackson? We did have and maybe this is the original Joshua Jackson. But what's up, Joshua Jackson there? That we did have him on. I can't even remember. Not Boy Meets World. What was that one show that he was on? Brendan knows for sure. I just don't want to. Yeah, Mighty Ducks is a good one, but there was a Dawson's Creek. There we go, Billy over there.
Nobody had the new show. Anyways.
Yeah, he had some kind of a new show. But shout out to Joshua Jackson. He loves us two dudes. So thank you so much for that one again, Mr. Joshua Jackson.
I love the Mighty Ducks.
But you didn't watch them all yet. There was even a. Did you watch? You were mentioning you didn't. There's like 3 or 4.
No, there's like later ones.
And then there's that sitcom too now.
Yeah, there's later ones that I never saw, but like
right.
I'm a huge the original man was pretty cool. Like it's a good film. I like all those cheesy sports.
We watch
films,
it all.
right?
I mean, as your daughter grows up, she'll really like that. Just watch them with her. They're obviously as wholesome as whatever. There we go. So now these imbalances come out. Vale, Grab, BBD. Really a bunch of no-name stocks
Those are all
there.
Brazilian stocks.
There's Hertz. Maybe there's a Brazilian reweighting today. Pinterest to the sell side, Microsoft to the sell side. So a few good sells here, but look at AMD cranked up. So AMD to the downside right now, big time winner for me now on AMD. So let's do that and take another piece out. There it is as AMD starting to go back down to the downside. Obviously Meta cracks lower as well. Good out for us on Meta. Yes, sir, man. This is one, again, not my best day, but definitely a good day here as we continue to just cash in here. What a great opportunity. Just too bad there was nothing to trade, but this was a great close, man. AMD short, Meta short, Rivian we hit the long. Look at Rivian, 86s right now, man. Yeah, buddy, good day to trade here, and we're going to continue to make that money on some of these names. So let's just continue to support this market, but it's starting to head to the downside as Manic Monday is on us.
Yeah, a little Manic Monday. I did get into Hertz, and Hertz was a sell and bounce. You heard Sean say buy and bounce 1.2 million. But one of the trades I always talk about when you get a buy or sell and bounce, it's big but not overwhelmingly large. This is a kind of a big one. Is to look for like a fade. So we had just rolled over on Hertz through VWAP, cracked down to the day's low. So you have a resistance level up at about 1690. The buy and balance comes out, and you have sort of like you have a built-in resistance. So when it pops up on the imbalance, well, the trend was down, pops up, I'm anticipating it's going to start pairing off, and then you short off of that high. Essentially, you end up risking only a couple of cents. So it's always something I look for, which is a big imbalance, a really good level that it played into in the direction of the imbalance, and then you expect it to fade off that. Risk to reward works out, hopefully. So if it gets down to the lows, then you have a nice little risk to reward of like 2, 3 to 1. Otherwise, I have to watch to make sure it doesn't grow. If the imbalance gets bigger or it goes through 1690, then I'll just get out of this one. But sometimes we'll make those plays off these imbalance plays. But this is against the buy imbalance on Hertz.
Yeah, this is, good call. I saw HTZ on there as well. There's always some imbalanced plays. Just be very careful with them. They can be dangerous because, I don't know if Neil was mentioning there, but they can flip, obviously, at 355-ish or until the close, anytime. So watch out for those ones. Yeah, we just got out some more AMD as this continues to go down 45 cents in the money now. Meta, 60 cents in the money. And look what's going upside, Rivian. We just got out a lot of those names, or a lot of those shares right now in the 90s. So Rivian definitely, 90, 91, 92. 92. Oh, here we go, 94. Still Rivian, still going back up to the upside. There's that take. And sometimes we're lucky that it doesn't continue its move down. But again, you know, we had our target. We were never really going to get out of this anyways. So good movement for me here on Rivian as it's pulling back in a little bit here right now. But a nice, well, not really, actually. It's staying high. So a nice move in there for Rivian. Now 40 cents to the long side on Rivian. We might as well just get out of everything and just end our day on a very, very positive note, man. I mean, Rivian still be negative because we just took too many hits early on this, but definitely made some back with that long. And again, look at that level. Sometimes you got to be patient. It was 3 moves to the upside, and then it came back in and gave everybody an opportunity to reload this down there at 29.50. So definitely looking at that tomorrow on Rivian. I think it'll be a name that I'll continue to look at. So RIVN right now on the watch. Nice move up to 90s. We're very light on this trade. We have about 20% left or so, you know, of that takedown there, of our total average price. Remember, average price was 75, so although it shows 40 cents in the money, it's really just 20 cents, so still a good take for me. I like this move to the downside here in Rivian, to the upside in Rivian, and then Meta, I'm just getting confused here because Meta is now 80 cents in the money downside. We might have, like, look at this, man. We're right back down to day's low. Why? Wow. Sometimes I get out at the end and I'm like, why did I do that? But for this one, Rivian, Meta, see, there I go again. Still making moves to the downside. AMD 50 cents, everything working. I'm just going to get out of AMC because it's held up here at 14.90. We have the bottom of the day on AMC. 14.10 long. Let's take it out for 80 cents. We've held this almost all day.
One for maybe to follow away for tomorrow. There was another stock that was at the highs. That KSPN from earlier. I know Brendan brought this name to us, and the midday guys were talking about it for sure. This is going to close fairly close to those highs, up 170%. Just the one on the daily, this is a big level it got to, that 750, that top. So any kind of a 750 break tomorrow's got room to the 200 period, resistance from $9 to $10. So a day 2 play here goes both ways. Sure, that 750 is resistance and probably worth the short depending on how expensive the locates may or may not be on this. But a breakout at 750 can be in play for KSPM. We're going to file that away there. Ooh, I got some out of Hertz there, but it looks like, did it pair off? I don't even see it on there anymore. So it looks like it did pair off, but then caught a bit of a bid. Like I was able to get some out midway, and then it caught a little bit of a bid, tried retesting. It did pair off, but it hasn't gone all the way back down toward those lows. That's just one of those, it's like a gimmick style play off the imbalances that you would do. And guess what? I said I would not take that long on Tesla off of 700 because it was too late in the day. Well, if I'm learning something, if 700's on the bid and support on Tesla, then just take the trade if it's before the close because it'll give you your bounce. It did give you that scalp trade already. It gave a bounce off of 782 cents. Now keep in mind, that is not some trade you're holding for 710 or 720. You're risking $1 to make 2 to 5. So that's your risk to reward. It is a pure scalp style play. Maybe we'll get a chance to do it tomorrow. Who knows? Although my guess is you gapped away from this price when we come in tomorrow morning.
Fingers crossed. Okay, so let's just get out of everything, man. Meta, we only have a couple minutes left. So Meta right here, nice 55-cent winner. We'll put something on the bid, see if we get hit at 60. Hopefully we do on that one. Here's AMD as well. I'm just getting out of these all right now. Let's just wait for 76. Why not? They're on AMD. There's the out on Meta. So that's going to be, again, another pretty good one there as we'll dab it up for anybody that was short on that. And then, like I said on the trade of the day, you know, like no reason to get out of this trade. So there's Twitter. It's now making new lows. I would hold this overnight if I could, man, but we can't. We've already talked about that. This Twitter, man, I mean, I would love to wake up tomorrow and see a 35 print in my account because honestly, Twitter's going to go to $30 and lower. So I really like this name here heading into what should be, you know, a very volatile next couple weeks, man, especially for TWTR. I don't see too much love coming through for that name, but AMD out right there. We got that 76. We get that out for Meta. And man, that was, we get AMC out as well at 90 or 91, whatever that price was. So the only red stock today, we're going to be red on Rivian, and then I lied. Mullen, again, another opportunity there for me that was left for dead because Mullen had an opportunity to go back up. We got a little bit out there, but then eventually when it broke through that 123, nothing left for me to do with Mullen. But okay, let's go back over to Brendan. There's a few names there. You know, go ahead, Neil.
There's one.
Oh, there's one. Okay. Yeah. Let's go back over to the one name that we may or may not be trading tomorrow. I might like their competitor a little bit better, but I definitely like the name there. Is that their new logo, Brendo?
It would appear so. Yeah, one. I mean, there's 5, but there's really one. Pepsi, guys, tomorrow morning. We'll get Delta Wednesday morning, so airlines kick it off. And then the banks Thursday and Friday. I saw Citigroup on Friday, but JP Morgan and MS on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. Like, I guess they did change the logo. I've never seen that one before. It looks pretty interesting. What happened to the old one? It looks pretty. The old one's pretty cool. Before we get out of here, I just wanted to point out that trade in Hertz, and it was a buy imbalance. Just to go over this one again, Hertz had fallen from VWAP to lows with the rest of the market. A buy imbalance comes in. It tries to retake VWAP. You had the 90 even as well. You shorted off that level. Imbalances are usually there to get paired. So unless there's some kind of index action or some catalyst, the odds are it's going to pair off. It pairs off. It retraces right back down toward those lows. I love that little fade scalp trade that you can put on for some imbalances at that time of day. But the market is going to close on these lows, it looks like. So a pretty weak one, although, I mean, some small caps that found some bids. But, you know, for most of the names we're watching today, it's going to be closing on those.
Yeah, I'm going to wait to see if I get a 32.50 here. So we're going to wait near that 32.50. We said we'd hold all day for Twitter, and here it comes right in right now. Come on, let's go. With only a minute left, I mean, who's buying this thing? Nobody. Shout out to Mel Lastman.
Well, not
yeah, here we come back down to the downside. 56, hopefully 55, and I may or may not be at 53 looking to get a fill down here on Twitter, and that would be a $2.50 win to end. Must have had a sell and balance just flipped, so we'll see if I get that print now with only a little bit left. It just went up about 10 cents there, so we may or may not get that. Rivian, we got out at 95. Good trade there to end the day on Rivian. Like, no problems today at all, man. We got out a win real low as well. That turned out to be a great trade on the short side for win. And now with only 25 seconds left to go, it's Mr. Tiger on, tomorrow's Tuesdays with Tony. We're going to switch up the format a little bit with the Tuesdays with Tony. Really excited for that one. But now only 15 seconds left here. And what a Monday, man. Manic Monday, almost over with. And then tumultuous Tuesday coming tomorrow.
Ooh, tumultuous. Well, we're supposed to bounce according to Frank, so maybe it'll be turnaround Tuesday.
True.
2 and 1. Ring it, Tony.
Tony!
I don't mean to put the pressure on Frank, because I mean he mentioned it's just a pattern that big sell Mondays
historical
recently have found good bounces. So we'll look for some opportunities to go long maybe tomorrow. But exciting show to be sure. Apparently there were no stocks to trade though. So
well tomorrow hopefully there'll be a little bit more. We finished with 0 LFT, meaning our highest spot on the day, and the reason why is because we had a little bit of diamond hands there, Brendan. We held Twitter. We got in. This is the longest trade I've ever had on the show because this is in at 9:10 and out at 4. So almost all day, completely all day there in that Twitter trade. So that was a good one for us. But how did the market wind up today, Brendan?
My computer just froze, guys. So sadly, I won't be able to show that. But we are obviously red on the day. It was full percent or more for the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the Dow. So not good. Basically day lows right across the board, unfortunately.
Yeah, the market not too strong, but hey, a little bit of a tiny bounce. The ES bounced off 38.50 again right at the end there. So a little something, not much. There it is.
Everyone loves
the
Tony.
Dow wasn't that bad.
Yeah, you might be right, Steve G. Maybe Arun rubbed off a little bit on me, but like Neil, myself, everybody, we always talk about here, it's like you got to learn from each other all the time. Yep. Neil, Brendan, Arun, Prad. Where's that guy? You can also learn bad habits as well. Right there, is he in the background? Oh, who is that? That's Ian right there. Ian. I think maybe Pratt over your shoulder. That might be Luca. But anyways, a big shout out to everybody on the floor today for sure. It was a great show, man. Thanks to Rob for setting up all of our PCs here, getting us a little bit.
He's still working.
Yeah, he's still working. Yeah, he's probably here before us and going to stay till after us. So shout out to Rob for working hard here, getting it all corrected out. Shout out to Maggie as well. Shout out to Juan, who's over there. Shout out to Juan. What's up, Juan? And a big thank you to Fahad. Thank you to Lucas today as well. Everybody that works on the back end for us. Very, very important, man. I mean, getting this show to work is sometimes a little trickier than we thought,
and it's hard to do that while being the CEO of Veru as well.
Yes,
so shout out to Fahad.
I also wonder if Fahad needs to fill out some sort of paperwork here because You know,
Conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest. Good one there, Neil. Thanks for the word on that one. But okay, join us tomorrow, man. It's going to be a good day. We have Pepsi coming through. I talked a little bit about Coke. We'll talk about the two of them tomorrow. I like both those names heading into a recession. Maybe not, but we'll wait to see what they come out with. That should be an important print. What is Pepsi going to say? How are sales? How are global sales? What's happening in Europe? What's happening in China? Are we going? I was going to say, are we going to a 3-5
costs
here?
along, baby? Can they pass those costs along?
At all. I know Brendan's super excited for earnings season because it increases the workload. You know,
I enjoy work, Sean.
I know, exactly, because of his kids. You know, his kids are in school, so they can relax. He can go home and he doesn't school.
I have no kids, for the record.
Oh, man. Thanks to Justin for coming on today. Thanks to Frank for coming today as well, and anybody that we may have missed. We are here live every single day at 8:30, so thank you for watching. Hit the like button if you haven't. It's the Trade of the Day coming up soon, and we're back tomorrow. All of us are back tomorrow, including Trader Brad, Ian, and Luca will be in the building tomorrow as well. All of us. So we'll see you tomorrow. Ciao, 8:30. We'll see you then.